And so Chip Hale's ball club looking to turn this thing around. Still have a chance to win the series, of course. That's always the goal. Diamondbacks, despite last night's debacle, winners of 7 of their last 11 and 4 of 6 versus the Rockies this year.
Yeah, just playing with a lot more confidence recently. I think it all started when the starting pitching settled in and started to work a little bit deeper into the ball games. That took some of the pressure off the offense, and that relaxed offense has really been putting the runs on the board.
So we are set to go finally for baseball at Coors Field. Dark skies overhead and fingers are crossed as A.J. Pollock steps in to lead it off. A.J. batting .310, now 9 homers. The batting average ranks him top 10 in the league. He's top 20 in OPS. And coming off a 3-hit night last night, including a career-high 9th home run. Corey Blazer, our plate umpire. We are finally underway in downtown Denver. There's strike one.
There's the changeup from David Hale. That's a great location for it. Second pitch of the game. Bounce the changeup off the plate and get a swinging strike from a dangerous hitter. If it worked once, try it again.
Sure, on 0-2, why not, right?
Yeah, you got a couple pitches to play with here. If you got him to chase one, maybe he'll chase another one.
If you're a weather fan, and why wouldn't you be at this point? A 46-minute rain delay, we are told, to start the ball game. 1-2 is hit hard to Arenado, who just gobbles everything up down there at third. Take a look at the Rockies defensively around David Hale tonight.
Ben Paulson once again in left field tonight. We mentioned last night he's a first baseman by trade. Made a couple nice plays out there last night. Charlie Blackmon in center. Brandon Barnes in right field. Don't hit it to Nolan Arenado at third base. Troy Tulowitzki at shortstop. DJ LeMahieu at second. Willeen Rosario at first. Nick Hundley, the U of A product, behind the plate for right-hander David Hale.
Back in the 2-hole tonight, the left-hand hitting David Peralta. And the shift is on. He hits a dribbler over the mound. That Tulowitzki charges and throws him out. 2 down. Here's Goldie. Paul Goldschmidt leading the major leagues in batting average, walks, and on-base percentage. He trails only Bryce Harper in OPS.
Goldie almost forced to take a pitch at least right there with a quick one pitch out by David Peralta. You've got to extend David Hale a little bit here in the first inning, so Goldie takes that first strike. Now he's going to have to go to work.
We have seen some crazy looking clouds here in Denver this year.
It's like Independence Day sometimes. When the cloud formed over the White House.
Big spaceship. If you see it in left field, let me know. This is in the seats in right field and out of play. That's when you really need to work.
Yeah.
When the spaceship gets here. The only thing we haven't seen.
I mean, there was a time this afternoon where the skies over downtown Denver were green. I mean, it is a bizarre weather day.
0-2 to Goldie. A roller to shortstop, right to Tulo. And David Hale works a 1-2-3 first. We are finally underway here at Coors Field. Alan Webster set to take the mound for the Diamondbacks right after this.
You should see me when I play basketball.
Making his third start with the Diamondbacks after beginning the season in the minor leagues. Here with your Arizona Ford starting pitcher scouting report, bullpen coach Mel Stottlemyre Jr.
His greatest strength is his sinker ball, and we've seen some good things out of him from his first game. Pitched down in the zone, and the thing that he did when he came back up is he was able to spin his breaking ball for a strike. And you know, when you got something that you can put on the ground and throw 70% of the time, it becomes a legitimate weapon at this level.
And as Bob, as you mentioned in the open, the key with that sinker is keep it down, right?
Keep it down. Follow the lead of David Hale in the first inning. David Hale got 3 ground ball outs quickly. Pounding that ball down there around the knees.
Charlie Blackmon leads it off for the Rockies. 277 and 9 homers. Alan Webster, 2 starts so far, very promising in his Diamondback debut. Blackmon with a 7-game hitting streak. That was June 13th at San Francisco when he took a no-hitter into the 6th inning against the Giants. This is dropped in front of A.J. Pollock, a leadoff single for Blackmon. And he's now hit safely in 8 straight. The lineup for Walt Weiss's Colorado Rockies.
That guy, Charlie Blackmon, at the top, already on base. He'll be out in center field. DJ LeMahieu at second base. Troy Tulowitzki at shortstop. Nolan Arenado at third base. Ben Paulson out in left field. Willeen Rosario with good career numbers against the D-backs. He'll be down at first base. Nick Hundley doing the catching. Brandon Barnes out in right field. And right-hander David Hale on the mound.
And keep an eye on Blackmon with 17 stolen bases down there at first. DJ LeMahieu, the second baseman. And Webster throws it away.
That's 2 bases.
It's rolling up the right field line, and Blackman's going to get third here.
Diamondbacks correctly worried about Charlie Blackmon over there at first base, but an errant pickoff attempt that time by Alan Webster, and right away, given where the players were positioned defensively, nobody was going to get to that ball before Charlie Blackmon ended up at third base.
So instead of having a double play possibility with a sinker ball pitcher on the mound, the first run of the game is 90 feet away. No outs, and the Rockies' leading hitter at the plate, LeMahieu, batting .316. Top 10 in the National League. There's a strike, 0-1.
It's really unfortunate the Diamondbacks didn't have an opportunity to get on the field and take batting practice today, because Yasmani Tomas, this is his first experience in right field at Coors. And before that first pitch to DJ LeMahieu, Dave McKay had to back him up about 50 feet.
Well, one hopper right to Nick Ahmed, coming home with it, and Saltalamacchia can't hang on. LeMahieu's going to go into second here, and it's 1-0 Rockies.
Now you see Nick Ahmed's playing back. The Diamondbacks are basically conceding that first run of the game. Looked like Saltalamacchia just took his eye off the ball that time. Hit him right in the glove, just didn't catch it.
In perfect position.
Yeah, he's right there inside, giving Blackmon a lane to slide to. He just didn't catch the one-hop throw. Hey, usually when you play your infield back with a runner at third, you're willing to concede that run. It's very tempting when you get a hard hit ball your direction to try to get the guy at home plate, but if you don't get the guy at home plate, it opens the doors for a big inning.
Or they give Nick Ahmed the error. That's a tough one there. E6 scores Blackmon, puts LeMahieu at second base for Troy Tulowitzki. 2 batters so far, 2 Diamondback errors. Very uncharacteristic of this ball club. 312 and 7 homers for Tulo, who had a pair of singles last night. Elevates and Tulowitzki chases. It's a ball and a strike.
Yeah, uncharacteristic is a good word for it. The Diamondbacks, you know, the pitching has been in and out. The bullpen's been in and out. The offense has been in and out. But you like to believe that defense is going to be there for you every day. Only the Marlins and the Dodgers have made fewer errors in the National League than the Diamondbacks. And once again, not to use it as an excuse, because the same thing happened for both teams. The Rockies batting practice got abbreviated a little bit because of the rain, but infielders weren't able to come out and take their normal daily routine of ground balls and throw to the bases. And seeing some sloppy play here in the first inning of the game.
1-1 to Tulowitzki. That's hit high, deep, and foul down the left field line. A ball and 2 strikes. Tulo has hit safely in 7 straight games and 19 of his last 20. And over that stretch is batting an even .400. Alan Webster has never had an especially impressive mound presence out there, and when things go badly this quickly, that's when you grow concerned. The body language has never quite matched the stuff, which at times can be outstanding. And Alan admitted when he made his Diamondback debut in San Francisco, he definitely had the jitters when he was out there on the mound to begin the game. That's foul. Chip Hill says he would just like to see Webster let the ball go. He's got really good natural sink, get a lot of ground balls, just kind of go out there and do your thing.
That comes back to that age-old question, what comes first, the confidence or the success? You know, you have a little bit of success, you feel better about yourself, you feel better about your stuff, you know you can get big league hitters out. But if you don't have the confidence to go out there and do it, you may never get to that point.
And the game has come to a halt here. Webster trying to set himself, coming off a disappointing outing against the Angels last Thursday at Chase Field. Allowed 6 runs, walked 5 in less than 6 innings. And he's already down 1-0 here. 1-2 pitch. Down the left field line, and again Tulowitzki pulls it foul.
That was a hit or be hit pitch right there. That was a sinker that's dive bombing down and in. Looked like it was going to hit Tulowitzki in the leg until he swung at it. Look how far this pitch is off the plate. And by the way, Jared Saltalamacchi was set up on the outside corner.
Yeah, Webster at times has shown top of the rotation stuff. The consistency at this level, however, has just not quite been there enough to match the potential either in Boston or here this year with Arizona. When he struggles, it's because he's not throwing enough strikes. It can at times be a bit of a high wire act. It's just a matter of harnessing that stuff. And Tulo's really giving him a battle here. Seventh pitch of the at-bat coming up. Two and two.
Boy, tough sky for pop-ups right now.
You've got some very dark clouds overhead, a lot of light gray ones though, and you're right, the lights obviously are on here and it's creating a little bit of a glare. It's tough to look up there and find a white baseball. Well, this at bat has turned into a mini series.
He had been a bat like this against Chase Anderson at Chase Field. I think he fouled off 12 pitches before putting pitch number 13 into play.
And I think Chase gave up, if I'm not mistaken, a home run right after that. Might have been Morneau who hit it after Tulowitzki wore him out. Just dump it in, and it's full 3-2. Didn't miss by a whole lot with that one.
Well, it just depends on the zone of the guy behind the plate. That's a little cutter up there at the top of the strike zone. Didn't get the call that time from Corey Blazier.
10th pitch of the at-bat coming up. The dangerous Nolan Arenado on deck. DJ LeMahieu, the runner at second. Bangs it into left, a base hit. Stu Cole will wave LeMahieu. Here's the throw from Peralta. It's cut off, and it's 2-0 Rockies.
After that lengthy battle, once again, Tulowitzki picks on a pitch that appeared to be inside out of the strike zone, and this time keeps it fair into left field. LeMahieu will score easily. That throw way late and offline.
Well, Mike Harkey mound visit, 3 batters into the ball game. And with what we saw from Nolan Arenado last night, this visit is well timed. This guy is just killing the ball right now. 287 and 19 homers. He is second in the National League in RBIs, just ahead of Paul Goldschmidt. The OPS ranks Arenado top 10 in the league. And he looks at strike one. Arenado's 19 homers, already a new career high. And he's rolling along here, hitting .385 during a 10-game hitting streak. That's in the seats, and Webster jumps ahead 0-2. Nolan Arenado got a hold of 2 Chase Anderson offerings last night and just crushed them.
First one a high fastball, that one a breaking ball. Just stayed in the middle of the plate.
He has homered 3 times in his last 2 games. This is high in the air behind the second base bag. Drifting out to shallow center is Ahmed, who's got it. And they retire Arenado. One away for Ben Paulson back in left field tonight. Paulson was out there for the series opener last night, went 0 for 4.
He may have gone 0 for 4, but playing a relatively new position out there in left field. Made a couple nice plays, and he's got some left-handed sock, which in this Rockies lineup, they could use a left-handed bat to split up some of these right-handed hitters.
Yeah, they are without Morneau. They are without Dickerson. Cargo a no-go again tonight. And so here's Paulson from the left-hand side, and the Diamondbacks put the shift on, with Goldie holding Tulo on the bag at first. Jake Lamb over in the second base spot. Owings near the grass. 0-2.
It's been a long time since they took team photos during spring training. You see Ben Paulson on the right. That was his team shot that they took down at Salt River Fields, and he's added a little facial hair since then.
Solid work out of the beard. The picture looks like a disguise. 0-2. Already a 20-pitch first for Webster, who's had 2 Diamondback errors committed behind him. Right into the shift, right at Owings. Can they turn 2 here? They do indeed. A nice turn there by Nick Ahmed, and Webster is out of the inning, but the Rockies take a 2-0 lead.
And may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of AZPD Limited Partnership.
Top second, Diamondbacks trail the Rockies 2-0, and if you're looking for a formula for pitching success in this ballpark, look to the first inning, turned in by Colorado's David Hale. A very efficient 8-pitch first. He got 3 ground ball outs, and Yasmani Tomas leads off the Arizona second. Yasmani in there at .315 and 3 homers. Excited to hit in this ballpark is how Chip Hale has described him. But was a little under the weather before the ball game yesterday and was a late scratch from the starting lineup. Chip Hale told us today that early afternoon yesterday, Yasmani was vomiting, had headaches. They diagnosed it as altitude sickness, and so he was a late scratch. Chip said that Tomas was pretty much better by game time, but because he was so dehydrated from the illness, they felt it best not to start him last night. Didn't want to risk a muscle pull at this altitude. Well, back in there tonight and starting in right field.
And he'll notice the difference. I guarantee you, just jogging from the third base dugout out to his position in right field, he'll get winded between innings. There's just no air here. No oxygen. It's like playing on Mars.
The sky looks very Martian-like, that's for sure. Mile high, that purple row of seats. All the way across the right field stands. It's a 2-hopper to LeMahieu at second. 4 ground ball outs from David Hale. Just what you're looking for if you're Walt Weiss.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Jake Lamb batting 5th. You know how you sense trouble is in this ballpark, they just put the tarp over the mounds in the bullpen. And Chip Hale told us before the ball game today they were expecting more rain to blow through here about 8:30 local time, which is in approximately 40 minutes from now. But you'll be standing here on a very comfortable, warm evening, and all of a sudden a gust of freezing cold air will come in. And then you'll look up at the sky, and uh-oh, that's coming in. That's probably not good. And we're kind of in that mode right now. And the wind, which is blowing hard in from left field, has really picked up. And they've covered the bullpen mounds. 2-1 to Lamb.
Another sure indicator that the weather's going to change is when the animals start pairing up 2 by 2, which they're about to do here in Denver pretty soon.
It was great when batting practice is canceled and you've got tornado warning sirens going off all over downtown Denver.
Yeah, I thought I was in the radio booth at the time, and the governor and I thought it was the music they were playing over the PA. You know, they had some of that electronic disco thumping stuff going on, and governor looked at me and he said, "Was that a siren?" I said, "No, I think it's in the music." And sure enough, the song stopped, or whatever you call that thing. And there were tornado sirens going off all around downtown Denver.
3-2 to Lamb.
Did not deter the D-backs fans. Once again, well represented here at Coors Field tonight.
Hundley hangs on to the foul tip. First strikeout for David Hale, who's retired all 5 he's faced.
Yeah, Hale doesn't use it often, but he has a 4-seam fastball that he'll throw like that in 2 strike counts up above the top of the strike zone, trying to get some swings and misses. That time Jake fouled it right into Nick Hundley's glove.
Sedona Reds scattered all over the ballpark here. I talked to a lot of Diamondback fans who were walking around during the rain delay. Some had one father drove up here from Flagstaff with his 2 young boys. They were wearing Diamondback jerseys.
Nice road trip.
Yeah, had a tour of the ballpark. Went in the dugout. The kids were all excited. 2-0 on Chris Owings. Yeah, you're going to need that hood in about a half hour. CO grounded out in a pinch hit appearance last night. David Hale came up for his Rockies debut May 23rd, made a spot start here against the Giants and did all right. 6 2/3 innings, gave up 3 runs, 8 hits, got the win. He pitched at least 6 full innings in each of his next 3 starts all this month. But had a rough time of it here in his previous start. That was last Thursday against Houston. Gave up 5 runs, 10 hits in 5 innings, but did have 9 strikeouts. He's a Princeton guy. Went to Princeton, 3rd round pick by the Braves in 09. 3-1 to Chris Owings. A 2-out walk. D-backs have a base runner for Jared Saltalamacchia.
Always a good sign when Chris Owings takes a base on balls. Laid off some sliders that he's been chasing out of the zone recently. That's only the 7th walk this season for Chris Owings.
Here's Salty. 129 for the season, a pair of homers. Rockies have the shift on. Arenado all by himself in the shortstop spot on the left side of the infield. Chris Owings 7 for 8 this year in his stolen base attempts. Almost threw that one behind Hundley.
usually see a catcher jump to go after a ball, but Nick Hundley did everything he could to get to that one, keep it from going all the way to the backstop.
I'm going to guess he missed his spot.
Yeah.
Got a new Chuck Norris sticker on the bottom of that bat. Another ground ball out. A little flip to Arenado covering. So that's 6-5 on the putout at second. Diamondbacks trail the Rockies 2-0.
Have to wonder what Alan Webster might be thinking when he realizes this. We have moving pictures now. Patrick Corbin in his rehab start down with AA Mobile. He'll pitch again on Friday. And as we've talked about for the last couple of days, Archie Bradley has a start tonight in Reno. We'll be tracking that. But Steve, I know you were down there when Chip Hale was talking to us in the media. It's not a given. Archie gets everything back. He's got to earn his way back, right?
Yeah, everything is performance-based with his Diamondback ball club. You're absolutely right, Tom. Willeen Rosario looks at strike one. And Chip Hale told us, look, just because Archie was here and then was injured and had to go on the DL doesn't mean he automatically comes back here once he's off the disabled list. He has to prove to them in Reno, where he's pitching tonight and is supposed to get one more start, that he's ready to be here and succeed at this level. It's performance-based.
And really, that's the fairest thing for Archie, too. You don't want to rush him back to the big leagues just because he's healthy and has a few innings under his belt at the minor league level. You want to make sure that he's got all of his weapons working. His command is good. His confidence is where it needs to be before you bring him back up here against big league hitters.
And it was interesting after Archie was hit in the face by that Carlos Gonzalez line drive that the Diamondbacks, in hindsight, said, you know what, it probably would have been better for everyone, especially Archie, if they gave him at least one minor league start just to kind of get a feel for things back out there. But I think if they had to do that over again, they might do it that way. So maybe a start or two in Reno will help reset Archie's compass a bit. Webster ahead of Willeen Rosario, a ball and 2 strikes. Rosario chases that one. Saltalamacchia completes the strikeout. That's the first tonight for Alan Webster. And as far as Patrick Corbin goes, Tony La Russa was on the radio this week saying that Corbin will make a start for the Diamondbacks at the big league level before the All-Star break this year. That, as of right now, is the expectation, and it started raining again. The catcher, Nick Hundley. Chip was talking about Patrick Corbin's performances in Mobile, and the issue for Patrick at this point, and again, it's a process to come back. The issue is that Patrick will third, fourth inning sometimes start to really get fatigued out there because obviously he's not done it in a long time. So it's more of a fatigue issue and building up that endurance than anything else. Huddled for warmth here in Denver. Welcome to summer in Colorado.
And you think back to all the pitchers in spring training, and usually at about the 3-week mark of spring training, right around there.
This is drilled to center field and gone. Nick Hundley, his 6th 3-0 Rockies. Well, that's Hundley's 6th of the year. All 6 homers have come against right-hand pitchers. He is crushing righties this year.
Belt high. Get the barrel on it. It's going to go. There's no question about it. Just to finish that thought about Patrick Corbin, every pitcher in spring training, usually about the 2 or 3 week mark of camp, talks about dead arm. I'm going through a dead arm period. It doesn't hurt. I'm not injured. I just feel like the ball's not coming out of my hand the way I want it to. And at some point in his rehab, Patrick will go through that as well.
Strike 1 to Brandon Barnes. Barnes hit his first home run of the season here last night. 3:09 now. And Chip said that Patrick has, complained about the usual things other than the fatigue, a little soreness from time to time. They've been very careful with him spacing his starts out every 6 days to give him an extra day or 2 between starts. And at the very end of his rehab process, I guess the final step will be every 5th day, just like he would do here. That's the final hurdle. A lot of talent in Reno right now. You've got Oscar Hernandez there. Brandon Drury was just called up to Reno. It's a roller to shortstop. Nick Ahmed. 2 down. So you've got, let's see. Aaron Blair was just called up to Reno. He pitched very well in a start there last night. You've got Archie Bradley there. Oscar Hernandez. Peter O'Brien hit a grand slam for the Aces. David Hale, the pitcher.
We talked about this before. If you watch Jared Saltalamacchia behind the plate, and we've seen Wellington Castillo do this in his starts behind the plate, getting down on one knee, trying to give a lower target.
Bounced over the mound. Owings backhands it, throws across his body, and retires Hale to end the inning. But Hundley's 6th makes it 3-0 Colorado after 2. Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Mix One. Great taste, no face, available at local retailers. Lower downtown Denver, where we're getting just sheets of drizzle right now, and the umpires between innings put on their rain gear, which is always a great sign. And you can see in front of the lights here at the ballpark just this sort of big windblown sheets of drizzle. Some more prepared than others, as Nick Ahmed leads off the Diamondback third against David Hale. But to this point anyway, it's drive on, McDuff. Let's try and play through this. Strike one to Nick, who's in there at 228 and now 4 home runs. Got his 4th home run of the season last night off Kyle Kendrick. David Hale looks real good so far. Just 1 base runner, a 2-out walk to Owings in the second. Whole bunch of ground ball outs. Rockies have gone out of their way to bring pitchers into this ballpark who rely on sinkers and changeups to get their outs. And Hale, with the exception of 1 start this year, has shown he can be very efficient out there and avoid the bases on balls. There's another grounder, but that one sneaks through into right. A base hit for Ahmed by a diving Willeen Rosario at first.
You've got a lot better opportunity to get that ball through the right side of the infield with Willeen Rosario playing first base than you do to try to get it through the left side with Arenado and Tulowitzki over there. Willeen Rosario not quite exclusively a first baseman at this point. He can still go behind the plate if Walt Weiss needs him back there, but getting a lot more playing time at first base now than he ever has.
Alan Webster will try and move the runner along, but he pops up the bunt. Rosario has it in foul ground, and that's an unproductive out for the Diamondbacks.
A.J. Pollock making his way to the plate. He's our T-Mobile game-changing player. You see career highs. He's already set a career high in home runs, stolen bases, and game-winning RBIs. He will set a career high in RBIs before all is said and done, maybe by the end of the game. And hopefully that average will stay up there and set a new career high in that as well.
A.J. grounded out to lead off the ball game. He's 0 for 1. Arenado, double play opportunity here. The throw pulls LeMahieu off the bag, but he still turns 2. Or does he? Hold on here. Chip Hale putting up the hand. They'll like to take another look at that. It was not a great throw from third base from Nolan Arenado, and LeMahieu really had to make a tough play there.
A lot of double plays are just all about rhythm, and a bad throw to the second baseman will break up the rhythm of the play. You saw LeMahieu had to run a couple steps across the bag before he could throw on to first base, and Chip Hale's going to ask for a review.
And the headsets will go on. It's another replay review brought to you by Mix One. We've had a lot of these plays in this series so far. It looks from our perspective like A.J. Pollock beat the throw. They may have a headset issue here.
I think they're trying to get clarification from Chip which play they're appealing.
Yeah, you can't just look at the entire play unless it's a play at the plate with 7-1-3 in play. Here you have to, tell us what you want to challenge, the second base play or the first base play.
Yeah, because there was a little bit of an awkward force out there at second base, the way LeMahieu came across the bag and adjusted to the bad throw, but the appeal is on that play at first base.
You saw Jeff Nelson, the crew chief, checking with Chip Hale. And Chris Guccione, the first base umpire, over there as well. And they are indeed challenging. We are now officially told to play at first base, challenging the out call made by Chris Guccione. Now we're getting mixed reports from MLB about exactly what they're challenging. They're telling us now they're challenging both the second base call and the first base call. But the neighborhood play is not subject to review.
It looked like he had the ball in his glove and his left foot on the bag. LeMahieu out there at second base.
Well, the word from New York is that the calls at both bases are being challenged. Now, I don't know if you consider that a neighborhood play or not. Was Ahmed close enough to the base to even make that a neighborhood play? I mean, that's a fairly ambiguous call anyway, but the call is out at second and safe at first, so the out call at first is overturned. And A.J. Pollock is aboard with 2 outs. So it's a 5-4 putout on Ahmed at second. Pollock aboard at first on the fielder's choice. And here's David Peralta. Updated look now at the replay reviews brought to us by Mix One. And Chip Hill has an excellent track record, along with video coordinator Alan Campbell, of challenging these calls and getting them overturned. Peralta grounded out his first time. Shift is on again for the Rockies. You ever hear the expression where Cliff Clavin would walk into a bar on Cheers and they'd go, "Cliff, what color is the sky in your world?" Well, I don't know what the answer is here.
Cliff would have no words for it here in Colorado. We've seen a little bit of everything.
Look at that. That's right there, Naomi. There's a lazy fly ball out to Paulson in left field. And Hale is out at the third. He's got a 3-0 lead.
Come early to the game on Sunday, July 19th for the D-backs versus Giants matchup. The first 10,000 fans will get a pair of D-backs Fun Socks. Get your tickets now at dbacks.com.
It's time we put an end to sad feet all over this
sad
country.
Feet, you know, that's a charity that just doesn't get the recognition it should.
The Bradley Foundation. To eliminate sad feet.
Sad feet.
Well, fun socks are just the thing. Charlie Blackmon singled and scored a run his first time up. How about that sky here in Denver? It is just, well, it's nuts. It's black on one side, it's orange on the other. It's raining, it's not raining. What's the deal? There's strike one to Blackmon. How about that shot, huh? What a great job by our camera crew. That is rifled over the head of EY Senior down at first. Our camera guys who are way up high here, obviously at Mile High. But they're out there in the elements, and they're doing a tremendous job tonight getting these pictures for you. Tornadoes, hail, rain. There's Chris.
Hang in there.
Great job. Thanks.
Yeah, the pictures make it look so calm. You know, you see a few raindrops falling there. Oh, yeah, a little rain at the ballpark. But then you take a look at our camera positions, and those guys are getting beat on up there.
It's like a edition of Deadliest Catch. Dan, hi Dan. Fruit Loops, what's the deal with that? 2-2. I guess you got to be Fruit Loops to be out in this weather. Over the head of Webster, a little flare right to Ahmed, and that's the first out here in the third.
Oh, we have a moment. Let's take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the game tonight. No Joe. Mentioned after the ball games here at Coors Field, when the Rockies win, they play Joe Walsh, Rocky Mountain High. We no Joe tonight, please. And wake up the worms, Alan Webster. I had a pitching coach very early on in my career that called a sinker a worm burner. So we want to wake up the worms tonight. Alan Webster pounding that sinker down there around the knees.
Big cut there from DJ LeMahieu. Webster ahead 0-2. LeMahieu walked and homered last night. The home run is 4th of the year.
Does look like something you'd see in a science fiction movie.
One and two. Just a glow back. Looks like something's on fire. Rockies got 2 runs in the first. A couple of Diamondback errors behind Alan Webster. Well, one of them was a Webster throwing error. Tulowitzki had an RBI single. Nick Hundley a solo homer in the second. And it's 3-0 Colorado. That one rolls right by Webster and into center field. A base hit for LeMahieu. And here comes Tulowitzki.
DJ LeMahieu physically reminds me a little bit of Nick Ahmed. Long and lanky, long arms, long legs. Put those two guys together up the middle of the field, you turn a whole bunch of double plays.
Probably reach up and snare a bunch of line drives as well. 4 hits for the Rockies. Tulo an RBI single his first time up.
2-0.
.50 pitches for Alan Webster, 38 for strikes. Make that 36.
Stu Cole down at third base coach's box. He is way past the box down there. This serves two purposes. Number one, it gets him away from line drives off the bat of Troy Tulowitzki, who tried to hit him in his last at bat. It also makes it a little bit easier for that runner going from first to second base to pick up the third base coach if he's standing farther out into left field. And then as that runner rounds second and heads for third, Stu Cole will run down the third base line with him and either throw up a stop sign or send him on home. But I think in this case he just wants to get as far away from Tulo as he can.
I don't blame him. Tulo in his first at bat hit about 6 foul balls over there. Owings at second base almost directly behind the bag, so there's a bit of a shade here for Tulo. There's CO right in the middle.
Just a little window to look through there between the second base umpire Clint Fagan and the pitcher Alan Webster on the mound. CO peeking right through there, seeing Jared Saltalamacchia's signs, and then seeing the ball go into the hitting zone.
There's a pop-up first base side. Goldie's under it. Two down for Arenado. Somebody asked Nolan Arenado the key to his offensive success this year. He's only 24, keep in mind. And Arenado said it's just experience with the league. He says he's seen some of these guys now over and over. And that may have been the case with Chase Anderson for Arenado last night, but certainly not with Alan Webster tonight. He popped up to shortstop his first time up. Here's another pop-up, and once again Ahmed is under it. No, it'll be Lamb this time. And they strand the one-out single through 3. D-backs trail at 3-0. FIFA Women's World Cup continues with the quarterfinals as China squares off against Alex Morgan and Team USA. This is a big one, a winner-go-home matchup for both clubs. Coverage begins at 4 o'clock Pacific on your local Fox station. Catch the whole tournament streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Paul Goldschmidt leads off the fourth against David Hale, who so far has given up just one hit. Nick Ahmed's single. He has walked one and struck out one, and has been producing a whole bunch of ground ball outs. 6 so far through 3 innings. And that will play here in this ballpark.
That's the formula for pitching in Coors Field successfully. Keep the ball on the ground.
Ole shoots it out in the air to Brandon Barnes in right field for the first out of the fourth. Ole 0 for 2. Here's Yasmani Tomas. Chip Hale says he wants his hitters in this series not to get too pole happy, which is easy to do in this ballpark when you watch the home runs just fly out, especially for right-hand hitters. But he wants them to use the whole field here. A little power outage out there with the scoreboard. And so using the whole field here at Coors should certainly play to the strengths of Yasmani Tomas. Case in point, he drives that one over the head of Barnes to right, and it's off the wall. Yasmani Tomas will have to hurry here. And he's in there. Barnes has got an excellent throwing arm out there, and he made that close, but Tomas is in there with his 11th double. Walt Weiss on the top step. Boy, that was smashed the other way to right.
Good advice in this ballpark. You do not have to pull it. You just need to make solid contact. Get the barrel on the ball. You can hit it out to any part of this park. Nice play out there by Barnes to get it back in quickly, but looked like Tomas's front foot came off, but the back leg got on the base.
Rockies video people having a look. And there will be no challenge. A one-out double for Tomas brings up Jake Lamb. That didn't miss a home run by much.
Not much. Just below that yellow stripe on that out-of-town scoreboard.
Jake Lamb struck out his first time up. Had a couple of strikeouts last night. 1 for 5 with a single. So Jake just 7 hits in 44 at bats since coming off the DL June 6th. And 1 RBI. Shoots it the other way down the left field line. That's a fair ball. They will wave Yasmani Tomas home. He will score. And there's another RBI for Jake Lamb. He's in at second with his 6th double. And it's a 3-1 ball game. Back-to-back Diamondback doubles here in the fourth.
Oh, and hopefully that'll be the one to get Jake Lamb going. Stayed on that ball nicely, drove it to the opposite field. He's been a little pull crazy since coming back from the DL, and that makes him vulnerable to sliders down and in, change ups away, but stayed on that one nicely to drive home a run and put himself into scoring position.
For Chris Owings, who walked his first time up. Big cut at that one.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. A day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
0-2. Still a very steady drizzle coming down here. And Hale having a problem keeping those spikes clean. Still a very strong wind blowing in from left field. Across toward the right field corner here. And the scoreboard is still dark. Little power outage. CO shoots it down the right field line. That's a fair ball. Andy Green will wave home Jake Lamb. Chris Owings is going to stop at second. 3 consecutive doubles for the Diamondbacks, and it's 3-2. 11th double this year for Chris Owings.
Like the opposite field approach, both by Jake Lamb and by Chris Owings. Stand right on that ball. Hit it where it's pitched. Pitch up and out over the plate. Nice abbreviated chop-like swing. Down into that right field corner. He had thoughts about going for 3, but Barnes played that ball pretty nicely on the carry.
Steve Foster, the pitching coach, is out there with Salty coming up. Way up top on the rock pile, I think I spy Todd Walsh. Todd, is that you?
You do. I don't know where we're looking at here. Yeah, I just wanted to see how high, how the winds were howling here. That Arizona flag, I don't know if you can hear it rattling off in the distance, guys. But fans up here earlier today were told to run and get cover. That we're up here in the rock pile watching batting practice. But so far, it's a mellow crowd up here. And Bob, I can confirm now what you said about running across the infield and losing your breath. I'm going to hold on to this railing for a while.
Dude, you are way up there.
Yeah, it's spectacular. The view is unbelievable.
That is a big-time euchre seat right there.
Yes, with all my friends, too.
Yeah, they had to scatter the rock pile last night when we had our first lightning warning. And everyone proceeded in an orderly fashion. They're probably used to it by now.
I don't know, initially when the ballpark opened up, I mean, you talk about cheap seats. I think those were less than $5 to sit out there in the rock pile. I'm not sure exactly what they are now. Well, $4 now. It must have been $2 when they opened.
Shift is on for Salty. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, you can go way up where Todd is in the rock pile for $4. Or if you're a really fancy person and you like to, schmooze and a little bit of the nightlife, you can go up to the rooftop where they have all kinds of sports bars. There's the rooftop. Todd, how's the view from up there, by the way?
No, there's nothing like this, Steve. I told you. I know you've been up here before a game. Some night we got to have Bob take over controls and have you come out here and just observe. But I do want to tell you, this is just how bizarre it has been. The Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis, the last 2 nights in the outskirts of Denver, you were able to view them, if you can imagine. It doesn't happen very often this far down south. The Northern Lights. We actually skied at A Basin on a Diamondbacks Live pregame show once on July 3rd. So come to Denver. Bring your friends.
Look at that shot. That's spectacular. Two balls and 2 strikes to Saltalamacchia. Owings is at second with 1 out. He's the tying run. It's full 3-2.
Yeah, I mean, other than the occasional pop-up blizzard out there in the rock pile, that's probably a nice view out there. You're looking straight in at home plate.
The rooftop, they have a club and a DJ and lounge chairs and a couple of bars, a lot of TV sets. Rock pile a little more old school. You'll notice that Salty has changed his Chuck Norris stickers. It now says, if you read the fine print, Chuck Norris approved.
Approved, yeah.
So they had to clear that through Chuck, apparently. And it's all systems go. Right on the handle of Saltalamacchia's bat. There it is. 3-2 pitch.
I tried to make a funny the other night and couldn't get it out of my mouth because my tongue slipped in front of my eye tooth and I couldn't see what I was saying. But Chuck Norris on his bats has a picture of Goldie.
Just as funny the second time.
See if you still feel the same way next week when I break it out again.
Salty just pounding those fastballs into the ground here against Hale. One more 3-2 pitch. That one bounced away from Hundley. It's ball 4 to Saltalamacchia, and Owings will move up. Good at bat there by Jared Saltalamacchia.
Real good battling at bat.
So they're on the corners with 1 out for Nick Ahmed, who singled his first time up. Want to thank Nick for his participation. He was the big guest star of BB on the new episode of D-Backs podcast.
Oh, nice.
Which the Governor and Leo Gilmartin and I recorded here at the ballpark earlier today, and it should be posted on dbacks.com and on iTunes hopefully by tomorrow morning. But so we talked to Nick for about 20 minutes. He was terrific.
I assume he got the usual parting gifts from the podcast.
Yes, our sincere appreciation. This one might drop in front of Barnes, and it does. Ahmed, his second hit tonight. This will tie the game, and Saltalamacchia is flying into third. And how about Nick Ahmed sneaking into second base? Five straight half reach for the D-backs, all with 1 out. It's 3-3.
Middle of the plate fastball, slashing swing, drives another one down into that right field corner. Little surprised that Saltalamacchia attempted to go to third, and even more surprised that Brandon Barnes airmailed it over everybody, allowing Nick Ahmed to move into scoring position.
And now the Rockies infield will come in with Saltalamacchia at third and Ahmed at second. 3-3 ball game, 1 out. Here's Alan Webster. Webster popped up a bunt attempt, his first at bat. Could be a single and an RBI for Ahmed.
Some equipment issues behind the plate. Nick Hundley had some problems with his shin guard. I think he's got it fixed now, ready to go.
Catchers, everything's got to be just right. Alan Webster, by the way, did not have it at bat when he was a member of the Boston Red Sox. He is so far 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Make it 0 for 6, pardon me, with 3 strikeouts in his career with the D-backs so far. And there's another strikeout. 2 down now. Scoreboard is functional again.
Yeah, I think Jared Saltalamacchia's name shorted out the scoreboard out there. It almost ran out of room.
Two runs out there with 2 outs for A.J. Pollock. Salty at third, Ahmed at second. A.J. so far 0 for 2. Coming off a 3-hit night last night. Right to Arenado. That's the wrong place to hit it. He doesn't miss much. But the Diamondbacks, the offense wakes up against David Hale in the 4th. 3 consecutive doubles plus the Ahmed single. Make it 3-3. Fans watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in True HD and over 400 mobile and connected devices with MLB.TV Premium. You'll get real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widgets, and a whole lot more every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions do apply, so check MLB.TV for all the details. 3-3 ball game as we start the bottom of the fourth at Coors Field. Ben Paulson, Willeen Rosario, and Nick Hundley 5, 6, and 7 for the Rockies against Allen Webster. Paulson hit into a double play his first time up to end the first, and the shift is on for the Diamondbacks. Paulson still looking for his first hit in this series. And still a consistent, steady drizzle coming down here in Coors. That's perfect location right there to a lefty from Allen Webster. Got that little tail on it, then he takes something off and gets Paulson to swing and miss. It's 1-2. The stuff has always been there. This is hit in the air to right center field. Pollock and Tomas. It'll be AJ. One away in the fourth.
Seems like a simple concept, but if you can throw two different pitches that look alike coming out of your hand, but yet there's an 8 to 10 mile an hour difference in those pitches, you should be able to have success at the major league level as long as you don't fall into patterns. Throw a changeup every 2-1 count. Throw a fastball every first pitch. You have to mix those pitches up, but the combination of the movement on the sinker and the off speed on the changeup, if you're able to throw them for strikes, you should be able to get big league hitters out.
Webster's got a lot of tools out there. Decent velocity on the fastball, changeup, slider, sinker. And the changeup at times can also be an exceptional pitch for him. Throws it about 25% of the time. Just pounds away with that two-seam sinking fastball at 92. And then humps it up when he needs to. 2-1 now. And we've seen in the past that Webster, when he is generating ground ball outs with that two-seam sinker, that'll allow him to elevate that four-seamer up a bit and get swings and misses. Just over the reach of Webster. Ahmed charges, and he's got no play. Rosario is aboard.
There's something you don't get to say often. An infield hit for Willeen Rosario. I think Nick Ahmed just didn't have a good grip on this ball when he gets to it. Right there on the barehanded play, he was ready to throw. He had time to throw. And I think he must have had a bad grip and didn't want to risk a bad throw and give Willeen Rosario another 90 feet. Steady rain falling all afternoon. That infield grass has to be getting wet by this point.
Nick Hundley homered back in the second, his 6th of the year. Had an RBI single last night. He was 1 for 4. And he was the last batter, actually, before that 38-minute rain delay we had last night. In the bottom of the second. Here's Hundley.
Just elevated. You can see Jared Saltalamacchia wanted it low and away. The pitch straight over the middle of the plate, about belt high.
The 0-1. Off the fist. Here comes A.J. Pollock. Long run, but he's there to run it down for the second out.
Good pitch that time. Jared wanted it in. Allen was able to get it in there with some late movement right in on the hands of Nick Hundley. Little lazy fly ball into center field.
2 down for Brandon Barnes, who grounded out his first time up. He has been playing a lot for Colorado lately, mostly in left field, where he's been filling in for Corey Dickerson. But with Cargo out with a hand injury, Barnes has moved to right, and Paulson starts in left for the second game in a row. Dickerson has been bothered by the plantar fasciitis in his foot all season long. He's on the DL right now. So they're without Cargo, they're without Dickerson. They don't have Morneau, who's out with concussion symptoms. But despite all those critical bats, most of them from the left-hand side that aren't here, the Rockies offense is still rolling along. They've scored 30 runs on 44 hits in their last 4 games. Here's Cargo. They say he is still day-to-day. (3-0). Hale, the pitcher, is on deck. Ball 4. First walk issued by Alan Webster.
We're talking about Webster's ability to throw 2 pitches that look alike but are completely different. This is the fastball to Ben Paulson right on the outside corner, and then out of the very same delivery, the changeup in the same location fools him completely.
Wellin Rosario, the runner at second. Barnes with very good speed at first. 2 down for Hale, who grounded out his first time up.
Here's a different way to look at that same sequence of pitches to Ben Paulson. The one on the left is a fastball. The one on the right is a changeup. Same arm angle, same delivery. Everything looks exactly the same to the hitter. But the pitch on the right got up there about 8 to 10 miles an hour slower than the one on the left.
That right there is exactly what you're looking for.
You just want to make every pitch look as close to the one before it as you possibly can, whether it's a fastball, slider, a cutter, a sinker, a changeup. If you can throw them all out of the same arm angle, the same release point, it makes it extremely tough for that hitter. That's when you really have to focus on picking up rotation. And if you, a lot of times, if you wait until that pitcher releases the ball to pick up the rotation, it's too late. I mean, there have been pitchers in the game that when they throw their fastball, they're at what I would call a high 3/4 delivery. When they throw their breaking pitch, their arm drops down about 6 or 8 inches. And standing in the batter's box, you can see that. It becomes very clear.
1-2.
As a hitter in the big leagues, you get so programmed to look for the release point. Some guys talk about putting a circle above the pitcher's throwing shoulder. Other guys picture a TV screen and the pitcher's hand comes right through the screen, and that's where you pick up the pitch. And if a guy is straying from that release point, if he's throwing fastballs and it's consistently coming out of the same slot over and over and over again, and every time he throws a breaking ball his arm drops down 8 inches, hitters will see that.
Well, Webster's got a full count here to the pitcher. 2 on, 2 out. There go the runners. That's a foul ball. Webster gets the strikeout and strands 2. We are through 4 in Denver. Diamondbacks and Rockies tied 3-3 on another beautiful night for baseball. celebrate with friends and family inside the air-conditioned comfort of Chase Field. For the Diamondbacks and Rockies, and after the ball game, stick around. The roof will open up for a post-game fireworks spectacular presented by Gila River Casinos. Get your 4th of July tickets right now at dbacks.com. 5th inning at Coors Field, 3-3 ball game. David Hale back out there for the Rockies. He'll work to David Peralta, Paul Goldschmidt, and Yasmani Tomas, 2, 3, and 4 for the Diamondbacks, who got 3 straight doubles in the last inning against Hale. Diamondbacks in their 3 previous games, 2 tonight, had only 6 extra base hits total, but 3 doubles in that 4th inning.
3 doubles in a row reminds me of a party I went to in college one time.
At the Ohio University.
Well, Ohio U. The other one is the.
Peralta coming off a 3-hit night last night, all singles. And it's not the biggest of sample sizes, but this ballpark really seems to suit David Peralta. 9 games here at Coors Field for his career. He's 10 for 29 at the plate. Shift is on. That one misses up and away, and it's 1-2.
Yeah, starting to notice some changes in David Hale as well. Ground ball, ground ball, ground ball early in the game. 3 in the 1st inning, the first out of the 2nd inning, all ground ball outs, but starting to get some balls in the air against him now.
Yeah, Tomas with his double, which was the first of the 3 consecutive doubles, just missed a home run high off the right field wall. And Jake Lamb lined one down the left field line. Chris Owens pushed one down the right field line. Well, Hale's now fallen way behind. It's 3-2 with Goldie on deck. Ball 4. 3rd walk issued by David Hale, leadoff man aboard, and here comes Paul Goldschmidt.
Another good at bat for a D-backs hitter. Looked like David Peralta's really seeing the ball well tonight. Laid off slider down and in earlier in the sequence. Laid off a pitch up in the zone there to take ball 4.
Goldie 0 for 2. He is grounded out and lined out. He's hit safely in 4 straight. Rain coming down a little harder here. David Hale so far through 5 starts with the Rockies has shown excellent command. Only 4 walks in those 5 starts, but he's walked 3 here tonight.
Well, this makes no sense to me at all, other than the fact that Goldie's just a good hitter in any count. But when he's behind in the count, he's hitting .384. When the count swings in his favor, he's only hitting .275. I say only .275, but those numbers are backwards.
Other than being a very good 2-strike hitter, does it tell you anything at all, or is it just too weird to make any sense of?
It's hard to figure. I mean, I think for some hitters, not necessarily for Goldie, when they get ahead in the count, 2-0, 3-1, they tend to overswing. It's a hitter's count. They're looking fastball. I'm going to hit this one out of the ballpark, and they overswing and get themselves out. I think Goldie is so good when he's behind an account because of his short swing. He doesn't try to overpower the ball. He just tries to put a quick swing on it, get the barrel on the ball. He doesn't have a lot of lift in his swing most of the time. I don't know. I think eventually all those numbers will be even for him. He's just going to hit 380 against everybody all the time.
Kind of seems like he does already. Well, part of it has got to be his outstanding plate discipline, as we told you at the top of our broadcast here tonight. He is leading the major leagues in batting average, but also in walks and on-base percentage. So he is rarely up there chasing bad pitches.
Good bat control. He chokes up a little bit on that bat. We've documented that over the course of his career. 2 strike counts. He'll get up off that knob of the bat, be a little quicker. Like that. Let's see Goldie hit one in the gap. We haven't seen the runaway train for a while. David Peralta running wild on the bases.
He gets up ahead of steam. That's a perfect spot. Big outfield and Peralta at first base. Hill keeps bouncing him up there, and it's 2-2. Rain coming down harder now. This is a fly ball to center field. Charlie Blackmon will watch it go. A home run for Goldie. And that's number 20. It's 5-3 Diamondbacks.
If my math is correct, that's 5 runs. Tacos. It's hard not to get tacos in this ballpark.
Goldie's 20th on the year, one more than he had all of last season. And he has homered now in 3 of his last 5 games here at Coors Field. Yasmani Tomas just missed a home run his last time up. A double high off the right field wall. Josh Colmenter has the souvenir. Looked like he might throw it back there for a minute. Broken bat. A little bleeder out there. That drops in between Tulowitzki and Paulson. And Tomas is 2 for 3. One more look at Goldie.
Oh. Sinker on the inside part of the plate. Just drives it back up the middle of the field.
Andrew Chafin. He is unbelievable. Goldie this season averaging a home run just about once every 13 at bats. His career best rate was 2 seasons ago when he homered about once every 17 at bats. And remember last year when you say, well, why only 19 homers? Well, remember he got hit by Ernesto Frieri on August 1st and missed the last 2 months of the year. Jake Lamb an RBI double his last time up.
Look at that shot of the Diamondbacks bullpen. This tells you the difference between pitchers and catchers. There's Mark Reed underneath the overhang, nice and warm and dry. And there's the pitcher standing out in the rain. At least catchers have enough sense to come in out of the rain.
Pop up. Tulowitzki. That's the first out of the 5th. Trying to find a way to keep busy out there.
Time for Daniel Hudson to do his stretching exercises with those elastic bands out there.
Good night for Chris Owings so far. A walk and an RBI double. He scored a run.
I guess Josh figures Goldie isn't going to want the 20th home run ball back because he's putting big dings in it right now.
I had an apartment once where the guy next to me did that a lot.
Oh, no.
0-1. Well, the Diamondbacks, the second time through the order, are having their way with David Hale. He was rolling through 3. He'd given up just 1 single. But they got a 3-run 4th inning, and now 2 here in the 5th on the Goldie homer, with Tomas at first and still just 1 out.
Well, Hale has made some mistakes to the Diamondbacks offense, but also I think their approach has changed since those first couple innings of the ball game. Yeah, you heard Chip say at the beginning of the game, you got to make him get it up. Don't swing at those change-ups and sinkers down there around the knees, and the Diamondbacks have laid off that pitch and made him get the ball up.
You know, in watching BB Chris Owings the last week or so, he seems like he's getting close. He's really made much more consistent, solid contact up there, and he's shown us less and less of those wild, flailing swings. You can see the progress here.
Well, that would be big for the length of this lineup if Chris Owings could get it going a little bit with the bat.
And so much of that for Chris seems to be strike zone discipline.
And pitch recognition. Yeah, we've seen him chase a lot of sliders over in that left-handed batter's box. I mean sliders that are never in the strike zone from a right-handed pitcher. You've got to be able to recognize that pitch a little more quickly and lay off.
2-2. Yeah, Chris's strikeout rate this season is over 25%. That's a jump up from last year. And much of that has to do with the number of pitches that he swings at that are outside the strike zone. That number for him is way up this year. But it's been a work in progress, of course, coming off that shoulder surgery with that new swing. Keeping both hands on the bat through the follow-through. Try and take some pressure off that surgically repaired shoulder. But even this at bat, he's missing a lot of those pitches a week or two ago. And he likes Coors Field. Hard to third, right to Arenado. LeMahieu won't turn 2 as Owings beats it out.
Very deliberate beginning to that double play by Nolan Arenado. Ball was hit extremely hard. I think he thought he had a lot of time. Really wound up, threw the ball onto DJ LeMahieu, and with Chris Owings' speed, he's going to beat that relay every time.
Rockies will put the shift on now for Saltalamacchia. Arenado at the shortstop spot. 3 defenders on the right-hand side. Salty has hit into a fielder's choice and walked. He's 0 for 1. That is smashed to right field. A base hit for Saltalamacchia. And Owings is on the run. He'll get in there at third. Tell you what, Bob, Diamondbacks coming into the ball game tonight are hitting .299 as a team against a pitcher the second time through, and clearly we're seeing that here in this ball game.
I would credit that to smart hitting. You know, see what you see the first time around, pay attention to your teammates at bats, and then come up with a better game plan the second time around.
.299 average against the pitcher the second time through the order is the best batting average in those situations in the major leagues. And Walt Weiss will end David Hale's night. Christian Bergman coming in. Diamondbacks have a threat going here in the 5th. They lead at 5-3. homer, his 20th of the year, lead the Rockies 5-3. And they have first and third with 2 outs for the new pitcher. This is Christian Bergman, his 17th appearance of the year. He has worked mostly out of the bullpen this season for Colorado, has made 1 start. And it worked to Nick Ahmed with Chris Owings at third and Jared Saltalamacchia at first. Ahmed tonight 2 for 2, a pair of singles. He's got an RBI. You can see the rain coming down hard now. There's a strike, 0-1. Nick, the at-bats continue to be very productive up there. Counting tonight, 13 hits in his last 12 games, an on-base percentage right about 400 over that span. So it's not just the hits, it's the walks as well. Really raining here now.
The Diamondbacks already have a doubleheader scheduled for September 1st when they come back to Colorado again later this season because of an earlier rain out. I'm sure the umpires and the Rockies, for that matter, want to get this one in.
Bounce to Arenado at third. But the Diamondbacks get 2 more. Paul Goldschmidt, his 20th home run of the season, deep to center field, and it's 5-3 D-backs. Agent all over the infield. Rain is really coming down, trying to get this game official. Jeff Nelson, the crew chief, the third base umpire.
Now look at that right side of the infield, the way the grounds crew spread that drying agent out there. That looks like a work of art.
Oh, it's lovely. They're doing the same thing around the home plate area right now.
Well, while we're waiting on the grounds crew to finish up, let's take a look at our Geico this day in Major League Baseball history. We go back 4 years to 2011. Astros lost 5-1 to the Rays that night. That wasn't the big deal. They used 3 pitchers with the same last name in a single game. Wandy Rodriguez started. Fernando Rodriguez came in and pitched 2 innings. And Aneri Rodriguez came in and pitched the 9th.
Name that Rodriguez.
That's right.
Good use of the sign as a protective cover as well. Let's go D-backs. 5-3 bottom 5. Trying to at least make this official and put Alan Webster in position to get a W here, as Charlie Blackmon leads off the Rocky 5th. Blackmon singled and scored in the first. He lined out to shortstop his last time up. What a year it's been for this Coors Field grounds crew. 12 rain delays this year, totaling more than 18 hours worth of rain delay. That's a lot of waiting around. And those guys, I mean, that's where they store everything over there. They've been wheelbarrowing in the drying agent by the truckload almost throughout the ball game. They got quite a supply stored up. I'll bet they're running out though at this point. Getting soggy out there. 0-2. Base hit to right for Blackmon. He's 2 for 3. Well, Blackmon was on base 3 times last night, a double, a couple of walks, 2 hits tonight. Brings up DJ LeMahieu. He singled his last time up. There goes Blackmon. The throw from Saltalamacchia. Kicks off the glove of Chris Owings at second. Ahmed there to back it up. And that's the 18th stolen base of the year for Charlie Blackmon.
Big jump that time. That's a tough pitch for any catcher to handle. When you have to reach back to your left to receive the pitch and then drag it all the way across your body as you close that front shoulder. Very tough to get that ball down there in time.
Well, you can see the rain coming down now in that shot right there.
And usually the determining factor for an umpire or a crew chief when to stop the game is if the pitcher starts to lose the grip on the ball, or if he loses his footing out there on the mound and it becomes dangerous for the hitters in that batter's box.
This field drains exceptionally well, and that, I'm sure, has already played a factor here. Blackmon heads off for third. There's a strike, no throw from Salty. So make it 19 stolen bases for Blackmon.
Those are a couple of stolen bases like the D-backs have stolen this year, where they just take off running while the pitcher's standing on the mound. Nobody holding him. Got a running jump out there at second base, and Saltalamacchia wisely doesn't even attempt to throw.
Blackmon now third in the major leagues in the stolen bases, behind Billy Hamilton and Dee Gordon.
Oh, my, nice stop. That's just a desperation effort right there by Jared Saltalamacchia. That pitch was in the dirt way over in the left-handed batter's box out in front of home plate. Just reach across and hope it hits you in the glove.
Three balls and a strike.
Old habits die hard. Alan Webster took his index finger and middle finger and put them on his tongue. Get a little moisture.
Could use some here. Got him. Big strikeout there for Webster. That's his third tonight.
Good pitch. Good changeup down low in the zone with some tailing action. This LeMahieu swing right over the top of a pitch that was down low out of the strike zone.
Is that exactly what you're talking about? The point to illustrate that you made in the open about keeping the ball down there?
Keep it down there. If they swing, if they make contact, it's probably going to be a ground ball, and that's exactly what you're looking for in this ballpark. And that time he had so much movement on that changeup, he got a swing and a miss.
Troy Tulowitzki. Rain, I hesitate to say it, is actually easing up just a little bit here. We're now back to a steady drizzle. Tulowitzki an RBI single in the first. He's 1 for 2. He's now hit safely in 8 straight and 20 of his last 21. How about this? Troy Tulowitzki counting tonight, last 21 games, 21 RBIs. Wow, well ahead of major league average with a runner on third and less than 2 outs. 2-0 pitch. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks. 3 defenders on the left-hand side. And Goldie halfway between the first and second base bags on the right. Ball 4, second walk issued by Webster, and he'll work to Nolan Arenado. I mean, you like the idea of not giving Tulowitzki anything to hit there. You like the idea of setting up a possible double play ball. What you don't like is the fact that it's Arenado up there with runners in the corners and 1 out. Bullpen is busy. Randall Delgado. We saw Randall last night. He pitched 1 1/3 innings through 18 pitches, and here comes Chip Hale. And he's going to take the baseball from Alan Webster, who leaves after 4 1/3, responsible for 2 base runners. Back after this.
It's the Room Store's huge
He's learning to be a professional hitter. He has more patience. He works daily and has the same routine. And actually, his balance has gotten impeccable. So now he's being able to recognize pitches much easier. And when you've got a good swipe and you can recognize pitches, good things happen.
Todd Welch back here at Coors Field. There you go, Steve. A setup from Rockies hitting coach Blake Doyle, and the guy that's coming to the plate with runners on, Nolan Arenado. Take it away.
0 for 2 so far, but riding a 10-game hitting streak, batting .385 during his streak with 4 homers. Randall Delgado on for the second consecutive night. Charlie Blackmon is the runner at third. Troy Tulowitzki at first. 1 out, 5-3 Diamondbacks. So it's Delgado and Arenado. Jumps on the first pitch and drops one into center. Blackmon will score, and it's a 5-4 ball game. And Arenado has hit an 11 straight. 12 RBIs during his 11-game hitting streak.
Another big factor in the development of Nolan Arenado. He hit a ground ball and didn't run hard to first base, and Walt Weiss, his manager, pulled him out of the ballgame and told him exactly why. And Nolan Arenado was very embarrassed. He said he felt like he let the fans down, he let his teammates down, and he vowed it would never happen again. And he has been a model citizen and one of the hardest workers on that Rockies roster.
I'm surprised that Chip went so quickly out there to get Alan Webster out.
A little bit, only because Webster more of a ground ball pitcher. For me, Randall Delgado more of a strikeout fly ball type pitcher. But apparently Chip had seen enough out of Alan Webster and wanted to get him out of there with the idea of avoiding further trouble and keeping the score right where it was.
Ben Paulson 0 for 2. Both these teams have gone into their bullpens early. David Hale going after 4 2/3 for Colorado. Alan Webster 4 1/3 for Arizona. And both these two ball clubs in the top 5 in baseball in terms of innings worked by relievers. And that number going up after tonight. The 0-1 is in the dirt. Really had some pretty good luck in this inning with the rain. It's still a fairly steady drizzle coming down, but it sure has lessened from when we started this 5th inning. Good pitch there by Randall. A ball and 2 strikes.
Good changeup from Randall. This Rockies team historically and this year's version have always been dead fastball hitters. They want to get something they can get in the air to the outfield, something that's thrown hard so they can put a quick swing on it. Almost all of them are susceptible to changeups.
Fastball misses, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Paulson. Still without a hit in this series. He was 0 for 4 last night. Broke his bat. Eric Young Sr. coaching at first. One of the great Rockies from their early days. There's EY. He was throwing batting practice out there today with a tornado behind him. 2-2. Hey fans, the fantastic All-Star finalists have been announced, and we want to help Sedona Red Forever win a trip to the All-Star game in Cincinnati and represent the Diamondbacks in Fox Sports Arizona. So go to foxsports.com/fantasticallstar to vote now through June 24th. Well, that's today, so this is it. Polls are closing. Tulowitzki at second, Arenado at first. 2-2 to Ben Paulson. He did not go, says Jeff Nelson at third.
A lot of times it's a run situation, but I think because of the problems that Troy Tulowitzki's had with his legs out there at second base, Walt Weiss probably won't take any chances with him.
Yeah, he is a base clogger out there in this situation right now with Arenado behind him. That one misses and the bases are loaded. Chip Hill pulled Alan Webster. So far, Delgado has given up an RBI single and a walk. And here with the bases loaded is Willeen Rosario.
And because Randall Delgado is, kind of your long guy, along with Josh Colementor, the guy that you bring in to eat up some innings. There's nobody warming up in the Diamondbacks bullpen at this point.
Rosario singled in his last at bat. He struck out in the second, 1-for-2. Tulowitzki at third, Arenado at second, and Paulson is the runner at first. Miguelín Rosario. He can be something of a Coors Field creation. As you can see, he is dangerous in this ballpark. Nearly .360 at home this year. His career batting average is more than 70 points better at Coors Field. Rain at this point has all but ceased. Wind is actually blowing out now to left field. It has completely reversed course. Keep that in mind with Rosario up there, who blasted one out to left last night. His 5th of the year. Two balls and a strike. 3-1.
Obviously, this is a pitch you've got to be very careful. Has to be a quality strike, because you know Miguelín Rosario is going to come right out of his shoes swinging at this pitch if it's anywhere near the strike zone. Almost fell down.
Shoes are still on. Barely.
I mean, that's what we talk about when the hitter gets ahead in the count, the difference in the swing. I mean, that was a swing intended to do some serious damage right there. He wasn't just trying to bump the ball into play somewhere. He was trying to hit it over the scoreboard.
Three and two. Out to Tomas in right. That drops in front for a base hit. Tulo scores. Arenado is hung up halfway to home. He'll put the brakes on, and the Rockies have tied the ball game. We talked about the idea of Tulowitzki slowing down Arenado. Arenado almost ran right up his back down the third baseline, and had to stop and go back to third. Here's Mike Harkey.
Fastball over the middle of the plate and down. Flare shot out there to right field. Arenado had a much better read, and Tulowitzki stayed close to the bag at third in case Tomas came in and made a catch. He wanted to tag up and try to score, but Arenado read it much better than Tulowitzki did and was right on his tail.
So a 5-5 ball game. Bases still loaded. Still only one out. Arenado at third now. Paulson at second. It's Rosario at first. Nick Hundley 1 for 2. He homered in the second. His 6th of the year. Webster got the quick hook tonight. Gave up a home run to Hundley in the second. Hundley's been really hitting right-handers well this year. There you can see almost .330 versus righties, including all 6 of his home runs. And up there against a right-hand pitcher right now. Two balls and a strike. Randall so far 18 pitches, 9 balls, 9 strikes. Three and 1.
Another dangerous count here. You see Andrew Chafin warming up in the Diamondbacks bullpen.
He went to 3-2 on Pulse and walked him. 3-2 on Rosario, had the RBI single. Now 3-1 on Hundley. He walks in a run, and the Rockies take the lead. Miranda Delgado so far has yet to retire a batter. Rockies still have the bases loaded. Here comes Chip. And it looks like he's going to check in with Corey Blazer behind the plate, and we may have a double switch here.
Yeah, pitcher spot due to lead off in the top half of the 6th for the Diamondbacks.
So Hundley with his second RBI tonight. It's turned into a 3-run Rockies 5th. Cliff Pennington coming in now from the Diamondback dugout, and in from the bullpen will be Andrew Chafin. Looks like Nick Ahmed is going to come out of the game, and Pennington will check in at shortstop. 6-5 at Coors Field. Rockies still have the bases loaded. Back after this. In this 5th inning did not retire a batter. 2 singles and 2 walks, and now Andrew Chafin faces a bases loaded 1-out mess. His 28th appearance, a 2.95 ERA.
Hey, you wonder how much the conditions had to do with Randall Delgado's ineffectiveness tonight. He was throwing extremely hard, 95, 96 with the fastball, just could not locate it.
And so they'll look to get some length from Chafin here. Double switches on. Pennington replaces Ahmed at short. Paulson at third, Rosario at second, and Hundley at first for the Rockies. And here's Brandon Barnes, who was grounded out and walked 0 for 1. That's in there for a strike, 1-2.
Couple of well-located fastballs in this sequence for Chafin, right out there on the outside corner, right where Salty has the target.
Bergman, the pitcher, is out on deck. Still just 1 out in the inning. He's on in relief of David Hale. Two and two to Brandon Barnes. Full count. Last 4 Rockies hitters have all reached 3-ball counts. Pennington at short. They get the force on Rosario at third. Paulson scores, and it's 7-5 Rockies.
There's a play by Penny and also by Jake Lamb. He initially took a jab step to his left to go after that ball. Realized that Penny was going to get to it, so he had to get back quickly to the bag at third and cover for that force out.
And they have recalled Bergman now. Michael McHenry, the backup catcher, will take the at-bat.
Mentioned it last night. Walt Weiss using his backup catcher right here, Michael McHenry, to take this pinch hit at bat. With Carlos Gonzalez day to day, you'd probably like to keep him out of a ball game like this if at all possible. He's down to Daniel Descalso and Rafael Ainoa.
You got a Hundley at second, Barnes with good speed at first, 2 outs, and here's McHenry at 244 and 3 homers. Just 4 for his last 25 at the plate. Ball 1. It's turned into a 4-run Rocky 5th. Each team with 8 hits. D-backs had 2 errors in the first inning. That led to 2 Rocky runs. Hit hard, right to Owings at second. And that's the end of the 5th. But Colorado sends 9 men to the plate. They get 4 and take a 7-5 lead.
Diamondbacks manager Chip Hale talking it over with Alan Webster, done for the night, of course, as we chronicled last half. But Steve and Bob, we have an update on Archie Bradley's performance. He's done for the night as well with the Reno Aces on the road in Tacoma. He went for 6 hits, 3 runs. They were earned. He didn't walk anybody, did strike out 3, and gave up 1 home run. 63 pitches for Archie Bradley, 40 for strikes. And you clearly identified earlier in the game that it's going to be a work in progress for Archie to make his way back, but that's one game right there that's in the books for him on the road with Reno.
Coming off that right shoulder tendonitis. Thank you very much, Todd. Discussion ongoing now. We saw Alan Webster sort of huddling in the dugout between innings there with Chip Hale, who's now talking to his pitching coach Mike Harkey. They had a quick hook there, and it didn't really work out. Randall Delgado had a tough inning.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to trust your gut, and apparently Chip and Mike Harkey didn't like what they were seeing from Alan Webster, thought it was the right time to pull the plug and go to Randall Delgado, who for the most part has been very good this year, but Randall just couldn't command that fastball.
So the new pitcher for the Rockies now, just his 4th appearance this year. It's Justin Miller, the right-hander. He has spent most of the season in the minor leagues, both at AA and AAA. And in 27 1/3 innings in the minors has 30 strikeouts. Gave up his first run of the season in their game here Sunday against Milwaukee after 2 scoreless appearances. After the double switch by Chip Hale, pitcher spot is now 8th in the Arizona order. Cliff Pennington took over at shortstop for Nick Ahmed, so Pennington hits 9th. He'll lead it off here against Miller. And then the top of the order, Pollock and Peralta.
Occasionally when Penny finds himself leading off an inning, he tries to bunt his way on base. We've seen him drive in runs with bunts. We've seen him bunt his way on leading off an inning. And with the wet grass, the rain's been falling all night. It's a stop now for the time being.
Hard to believe, huh?
Yeah, see if Cliff tries to drag one down that first baseline and make Willeen Rosario make a play.
Yeah, it looks to this point like we've weathered the worst part of the storm. Shift is on for the Rockies against Pennington, as you see there. He's batting just over 200 on the year with 5 RBIs. Arenado, the only guy on the left-hand side, sticking fairly close to that third base bag. Cliff had a pinch hit single in the 9th inning last night. Got a start on Saturday against the Padres, went 1 for 3. And had a base hit in his only at bat last Thursday in the series finale against the Angels. Also had a 2-hit night in Anaheim in the beginning of that series. So Cliff has been a hitter up there lately. By the way, fans, if you're curious about the College World Series, that was a biggie. The third and deciding game of that College World Series in Omaha between Dansby Swanson and the Vanderbilt Commodores, taking on the UVA Wahoos. Virginia, which lost the opener, won last night, won again tonight. And Virginia, the national champions, they beat Vanderbilt 4-2. That's the first National Collegiate Baseball Championship for the ACC since 1955. And so now Dansby Swanson will begin his professional career with the Arizona Diamondbacks once they get the paperwork signed. The 2nd overall pick, Alex Bregman from LSU, has agreed to terms with Houston. That just happened today. Penny goes the other way and drops it into left center field. Pennington will stop at first. He continues to swing a hot bat for the Diamondbacks. Leadoff man aboard.
Yeah, Penny has just recently gotten his batting average back up over 200, but in his defense, he was hitting a lot of tough luck. He was lining right at people, hitting deep fly balls that were run down. Good to see him finally find some grass out there in the outfield.
Top of the order now for the Diamondbacks. A.J. Pollock 0 for 3. Diamondbacks a 3-run fourth and a 2-run fifth to get tacos. Well, the Rockies answered with 4 in the fifth. They get 7 runs and they get tacos.
They get tacos.
So everybody's eating tacos here tonight, both in Sedona red and purple. Talk about Dansby Swanson. I'm sorry, Bobby. Diamondbacks, if you think about the middle infield depth, they've really stockpiled some. The Rockies bullpen is busy because you drafted Dansby Swanson. You acquire Phil Gosselin in the Bronson Arroyo Tuki Toussaint trade. Brandon Drury was just moved up from AA Mobile to AAA Reno. So the middle infield will have a lot of options here. Something to think about down the road. And they have said that Dansby Swanson will start professionally at the shortstop position. He played shortstop this year for Vanderbilt. But last year, when Vandy won the whole thing and Swanson was the College World Series most outstanding player, he was the second baseman. So that's certainly an option as well. Chris Owings, Nick Ahmed already here. Cliff Pennington at first base. A lot of depth for the Diamondbacks organizationally at the shortstop and second base spots.
Yeah, that's kind of been the conventional wisdom in baseball for years. If a guy plays shortstop, he can probably play anywhere on the field. You know, he's a good enough athlete to play that position and all it entails. He has to have enough arm to throw from deep in the hole at short, enough quickness to turn double plays up the middle of the field, and most of the time those guys can move to other positions relatively easy.
And a shot of Jake Lamb in that picture. He was a high school shortstop. That's in the seats. Actually drafted as a shortstop by the Pirates in the 38th round. Jake Lamb in high school, but decided to go to college instead. Played at the University of Washington, and that's where he started playing third base. And was a freshman All-America for the Huskies. A lot of young infield talent right there, and more on the way. 2-2 pitch. Hit hard. Tough hop for Tulo. Recovers in time to get the force on Pennington, and Pollock's aboard.
Make it hurt. Now that won't go down as an error in the scorebook because they did get the force play at second base, but that's a ball that should have been turned into a double play. See if the Diamondbacks can take advantage of the extra out in the inning.
Well, you saw Walt Weiss get his bullpen busy. He's got the left-hander in Peralta coming up.
That ball was hit hard right at him, but you pick that on a short hop. That's an easy double play right there. It just climbed up his arm. They were able to get the force at second, but couldn't complete the double play.
Walt Weiss is taking Miller out of the game. And we have a pitching change for the Rockies. Kristen Friedrich is coming in to face Peralta. Back after this. Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by Oregano's Pizza Bistro, your neighborhood pizza joint. We are athletic supporters. By Card Power from Arizona Federal Credit Union. Now that's the power of us. And by Bud Light. Stay in the game and drink responsibly. Rain has stopped, believe it or not, here in downtown Denver. Diamondbacks trail the Rockies 7-5 and try to get back in this ball game against the Colorado bullpen here in the 6th. On to face the left-hand hitting David Peralta. The big lefty Christian Friedrich, his 31st appearance of the year. Left-hand hitters this season batting .226 against him. A.J. Pollock is at first, 1 out. Peralta walked and scored his last time up. He's 0 for 2.
Friedrich, a 3-pitch guy, fastball, slider, curveball, and he'll throw his breaking pitches about half the time.
Barely over 170 versus left-hand pitching this year for David. It's a fly ball out to Blackmon in center. Backing up, backing up, backing up. Pollock goes back to the bag, and he will have to hold there as Blackmon gets it back in quickly. Here's Goldie.
Boy, we're doing some managing tonight.
Brains are spilling all over the field. Well, he's not going to let the lefty face Goldie, who homered in his last at bat, his 20th of the year. Well, before it was rain, now it's Walt Weiss. We'll be back. Gigalize high-speed highlights. Diamondbacks trail the Rockies 7-5. 6th inning, the new pitcher for Colorado, the hard-throwing right-hander Scott Oberg, who we saw last night. He worked a 1-2-3 7th, retired Pennington, Pollock, and Lamb. 12 pitches, 7 for strikes. He's in there now to face Goldie with Pollock at first and 2 outs. Goldie homered his last time up, number 20 on the year.
Whoa. That ball looked down. Corey Blazer immediately heard it from that third base dugout and whipped his head over there.
You know, as you talked about earlier, you almost feel better when he's behind in the count anyway. Goldie's now hit safely in 5 straight. Bouncer to shortstop. It backs up Tulo. Oberg gets the job done. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. Diamondbacks trail at 7-5.
The D-backs take on the Rockies at 7:10, then sit back and relax as the roof opens for a post-game fireworks spectacular presented by Gila River Casinos. Visit dbacks.com. Fans, this Friday, come out to Gila River Arena for the Coyotes Rally Draft Viewing Party and show your support for the Arizona Coyotes. Roger Klein and the Peacemakers will perform, and you can be the first to see the team's new uniforms. The event kicks off at 3 o'clock, and the event is free. My favorite four-letter word. For more information, go to ArizonaCoyotes.com.
Your favorite 5-letter word? Pizza.
Zog. It's just Z-A. Zog.
Diamondback fans here with us at Coors Field. Charlie Blackmon leads off the 6th inning for Colorado. He's 2 for 3, a pair of singles.
Well, you can take in the Coyotes rally at 3 o'clock and still make it home in time to see the D-backs and Padres Friday night.
Beautiful from Petco Park. Start of a 3-game series there. Robbie Ray will pitch that ball game for the Diamondbacks. Jeremy Hellickson Saturday. Chase Anderson Sunday. There's Robbie. Blackmon with a 8-game hitting streak now, 15 straight here at home. Three and one.
Yeah, David Peralta, after chasing that foul ball a long way, was kind of grabbing at the back of his left leg a little bit, was stretching as he took his position back again in left field.
Fly ball center field. A.J. Pollock has room. It's kind of what they were talking about with Yasmani Tomas yesterday. It's easy to get dehydrated at this altitude, I guess, and then that leads to pulled muscles and cramps and things like that.
Yeah. David took his fist and was just banging on the back of that left leg.
DJ LeMahieu struck out his last time up. Singled in the 3rd. He's 1 for 3. Talked earlier this year about LeMahieu's front foot when he's up there. He used to have a big front leg kick at the plate, and he had said that part of his success this year has been eliminating that leg kick, and you can see he's still doing it. He's got that front foot down very quickly. Keeps that toe right almost on the dirt. And he said he's had a lot more luck hitting the low ball and hitting everything that's down in the zone with that front foot down more quickly.
Well, LeMahieu's a big guy. He takes a big swing when he has a count in his favor, but he's only hit 4 home runs this year, playing half his games in this ballpark. He's never really been a power hitter. Perfectly suited number 2 hitter, though. He drives that ball the opposite field. He's a good hit and run guy. When asked to, he can put down a bunt.
Looks at strike 3 from Andrew Chafin.
The strike zone is getting bigger as the evening goes on.
Two down for Tulo. How about this? Troy Tulowitzki, the only Rockies infielder who has not homered in this series. Arenado has 2. LeMahieu, Rosario, and Hundley have all homered. But still, Tulowitzki an RBI single in the first. He walked and scored his last time up. Two and one. Barney batting gloves on again.
Yes, he does. And the Taz wristband. I assume that's short for Tasmanian Devil. That's kind of the way he plays the game, like a whirling dervish.
I think it's actually for his child, who apparently is a bit of a Tasmanian Devil.
Well, yeah. The fruit doesn't fall far from the tree then, I guess.
Been an all-star for the last 5 years, Troy Tulowitzki. Still, as always, ongoing speculation in this his age 30 season. And this might be his last in Colorado. Always trade speculation around him. But he'd be tough to move. He's making $20 million this year. And for the next 4 seasons after this one. So he's owed roughly $98 million after this year.
But we know from past experiences that there are a couple of franchises out there that would laugh at that money. To put Troy Tulowitzki in the middle of their lineup.
Taz is his son, by the way.
Okay. I stand corrected.
Out to Tomas in right. Backing up at the track, and he makes a running grab into the wall. And Andrew Chafin works a 1-2-3 6th. We go to the 7th in a 7-5 game. Here's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. We'll see Tomas, Lamb, and Owings in the 7th for the Diamondbacks.
Find it on your SAP channel.
Well, there you have, Steve, your favorite. I've been listening to you now for 3 years talk about Dinger.
Figures.
The mascot, but I just want you to know I've been coming here for a long time, and
what is this?
I've opened negotiations. Okay, I just want you to know, I'm trying to smooth things out between you two.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, he's got equity here. He's got DNA that goes back millions of years.
I thought it was wiped out.
Well, you haven't seen Jurassic World, have you?
I actually had to go see that the other day. The wife dragged me.
Sure.
Guess what? They made a dinosaur, and they lost control. Hard to believe. Who saw that coming?
Again and again and again.
Some Dinger detente.
I'm looking forward to that. I'd like to try and engineer that. There's a ball in the right field. The Diamondbacks have a run around. We'll talk more about this perhaps tomorrow and into the future, but I just want to put it on the table. It's out there. I can mediate, arbitrate with all the words that end in those eights, okay?
Yasmani Tomas is 3 for 4, his third hit. Frankly, Todd, I feel a little betrayed.
Yeah, you're either with us or you're the enemy, Todd.
No, I understand.
It's typical, right? They get 4 runs in the 5th. You haven't seen Dinger all night long. Suddenly it's 7-5, and now he shows up. Typical Dinger.
He has a schedule, okay?
Dinger, the front-running mascot. Jake Lamb, an RBI double in the 4th. It's funny because I'm sure once the dinosaurs figured out that was it, right? Evolution, the whole thing. This is it. We're done. Dinger, by then, probably long gone.
Yeah, he got on that boat out of the Yucatan Peninsula.
Oh, yeah, I'm out of here.
Yeah, that first comet came streaking toward Earth, and Dinger went underground.
And he turned up here. But he waited until the Rockies had to lead, and then he showed up.
He's an expansion dinosaur, so you got to,
Dinger. Dinger, by the way, was hatched, I'm told, in what was a moving on-field ceremony. In April of 1994, they actually brought a big egg out to the middle of the field, and nobody knew what was going to happen here.
I remember when that happened.
Oh, were you there?
No, but I do remember it.
And, out of this egg comes Dinger, the mascot. And here he is, all these years later.
But at least we know where Dinger came from. Yuppie, on the other hand, I don't know.
That one gets behind Hundley, and Tomas will move up. Well, you really have it's really stuck in your craw there with the whole Yuppie thing.
Yuppie had a little bit of that French attitude, You go into Montreal, and I got along with all the mascots. I had a lot of fun, with the San Diego Chicken and the Philly Fanatic and the Pirate Parrot. I got along with all them, but Yuppie just rubbed me the wrong way. I wanted to jerk him off the top of the dugout.
Was there anything in particular?
No.
Did he enjoy Jerry Lewis movies? I mean, what was the French, just sort of laissez-faire, as it were?
Well, I hate to give away secrets to the youngsters out there, but there are actual humans inside those costumes, and the human that was inside Yuppie was not a pleasant person.
Oh, all right. Tulowitzki. Did you have a run-in with him when he was out of uniform?
As hard as I tried, no. Yuppie, obviously when the costume came off, we didn't know who he was. And he wouldn't divulge who he was either, but that didn't stop him from talking trash. In French.
Wait,
That's even worse.
I thought they weren't allowed to talk.
Oh, maybe not to the fans to, uphold the image and everything, but to the players, they used to give it to us all the time.
I would think that you would sort of have something of an affection for Yuppie as Chris Owing steps in. Because he was the first ever mascot to be ejected from a game, Yuppie.
Oh, well.
He was thrown out of a game in August of '89. That's sort of right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, move him off of 0 up to 0.5.
But based on your story, I'm not surprised now to hear that he got himself in trouble and got himself run.
All you had to do to get Yuppie going was just scream out of the dugout, "What are you supposed to be?" Because the poor guy inside didn't know. I don't know.
Send him to therapy.
Just wearing this fuzzy, smelly costume. Running around, making a fool of myself.
Speaking in French half the time. Well, Yuppie might be back. I got news for you, my friend, because they keep having these exhibition games in Montreal, and they keep packing them in. And there's, of course, always the speculation that Montreal might be an active baseball market again for the big leagues. Always gets one up in the air to center field, but Blackmon has it. Tomas in second will tag and head for third. And he's in there. Two down now for Saltalamacchia, who has walked and singled tonight.
That's one play where, as an outfielder, you don't have to worry about the cutoff man. There's no trail runner. There's just that guy trying to advance from second to third. So Blackmon aired it out all the way in the air from deep center field to third base.
So Tomas at third, two down for Salty. There you go, saucer. D-backs fans enjoying the food at Coors Field.
All geared up. I like it.
Just over 30,000 here tonight. And thankfully the rain has stopped. We made it through the worst of it. Whole family's with us here tonight.
They have obviously been to the team shop.
I like it. Shift is on again for the Rockies against Saltalamacchia. Tulowitzki right next to second base umpire Clint Fagan down there. Arenado staying reasonably close to the bank at third. And Rosario at first, right on the line. Salty can't hold up. 1-2. That Chuck Norris bat up there. Diamondbacks have out-hit the Rockies 10-8, but they trail it 7-5. Hundley is homered for Colorado. Goldie for the Diamondbacks. So quite a contrast from last night when we saw 8 home runs hit in the ball game. 3 by the D-backs, 5 for the Rockies. Yes, he went. Jeff Nelson rings him up, and they strand the runner at third. Well, at least good to see Todd Walsh spreading Diamondback goodwill and showing that, you know, we can rise above Dinger and his antics.
I was pitching well, and I didn't want to say anything. You know, I'm first time in the big leagues. I don't want to, you know, once you're here, you want to pitch, and that's a good thing. But I didn't even realize that I pitched 7 times out of 10 days until I got hurt. Until they told me, I was just ready to go every day.
Well, big Enrique Burgos Back on the major league mound after a DL stint and 3 rehab appearances with AA Mobile, talking about the fact that he had quickly become a valuable member of that Diamondback bullpen. And Chip Hale said, hey, put that on me. You know, I hadn't even realized how often I had gone to this young man because he was so effective. So he wore out a little bit, but he's back here and pitching for the Diamondbacks.
And that's a common thing with young pitchers. You know, just give me the ball. They're young and dumb and strong. Just give me the ball. I'll go out there and pitch every day if you want me to. And Burgos was so good, it was tempting to pitch him every day.
And so Burgos activated from the DL. Addison Reed sent to AAA Reno to try and get his mechanics straightened out and learn the split finger fastball. So Burgos is back as a key member of this bullpen. And he'll work to Nolan Arenado to lead off the Colorado 7th. Arenado, an RBI single. He scored a run his last time up. He's 1 for 3. .97 from Burgos, who's a big dude out there. 6'3", 251. 24-year-old right-hander who has worked his way up and through the Diamondback minor league system. Making progress on those cones. Little dude in white seems like he's got a system. Oop, napkin. Just going to town on that thing.
You have to have a game plan.
He's focused. What? We're on TV? Let me wipe my chin. No, somebody just took a picture of their TV screen and texted it to Dad. Nice work. Chip Hale said yesterday that the coaching staff really trusts Enrique Burgos, and they will use him in big spots. It doesn't matter left, right, none of that, no matchups. He's going to be extra careful not to overuse him. And they will pick their spots with Burgos, but he's a strikeout pitcher, and they want him in there in important points in the ballgame. 98 right there. But in there tonight just to get some work. And they really felt, bottom line was that Burgos gave the ball club a better chance to succeed than Addison Reed did, at least right now.
Well, you look at the collection of arms that we have in the bullpen right now with Randall Delgado and David Hernandez, Daniel Hudson, Enrique Burgos. You got guys that can miss some bats with fastballs. Throw them right by good big league hitters.
He's gone full on Arenado, 3-2. Fly ball left field. Nolan Arenado takes it to the track, but Peralta runs it down just shy of the wall.
Just enough fastball that time to get in on Nolan Arenado, just enough. Take some of the sting out of that bat. And David able to run it down right on the warning track.
Ben Paulson walked and scored his last time. He's 0 for 2 and hitless in the series. Shift is on for the Diamondbacks. Paulson, a big guy up there too, 6'4", 205. It's a third-round pick out of Clemson in the 09 draft. 1-2. Diamondbacks will have the pitcher's spot, which is 8th in their order, leading off the 8th inning. So this will be a 1-and-done for Burgos. Down to the cone. Locked in.
Those are pretty good. I have to admit, I had one earlier.
I went with the helmet myself. It's a little neater.
Oh, okay.
You don't get ice cream all over your notes that way, I found, the hard way. But yeah, it's good stuff.
Oh, that's some real skill there. Eat the cone and leave the ice cream. Look at that.
He didn't go, says Jeff Nelson down at third. And it's a full count, 3-2. So Burgos has gone full in the first 2 batters he's faced. It's like one of those things you used to have on your office desk where the bird's head would just bob up and down into the glass of water. Rosario on deck. 98 from Burgos. Now they're doing it in unison. That one was way upstairs off the glove of Salty, and he walks Paulson. Good night for Rosario. 2 for 3, a pair of singles. He's got an RBI. In the hole, it's short. Nice stop by Pennington, and Owings turns the double play. A nice scoop by Goldie, and how about the turn by CO? And hold on, let's check the second base play with umpire out there, Clint Fagan.
Boy, what a great play by Penny to initiate that double play. Dives, stops his momentum, and fires on to Chris Owings. Easy out at second. The throw to first, not so much. Guccione is saying Goldie left his foot on the bag. We'll take a look at it from this angle.
Clearly out there. Here comes Walt Weiss. And they're going to put the headsets on. So it looks like they're challenging the call at first base. Umpire Chris Guccione. Another replay review brought to you by Mix One.
Yeah, surprisingly, Rosario's only grounded into 2 double plays all year. Get one more look at that great play by Penny to get it started. You know, one thing about that play right there. Oh, they called him out.
He is out at first, and the double play ends the inning. Very well done by the Diamondback infield. Pennington and Owings with Big Ben Paulson bearing down on him. The call on the field is in fact confirmed. And that takes care of the Colorado challenge. But the Diamondbacks still trail 7-5 as we go to the 8th inning in Denver. Rockies 7-5. And as we've seen in the series so far, once Willeen Rosario gets what Walt Weiss thinks will be his final at bat at the ball game, he makes defensive changes. With Rosario playing first base, he's now out of the game. New pitcher for Colorado, the right-hander Tommy Kahnle. We saw him last night. He worked one inning, gave up a run on one hit, had a walk and a strikeout through 20 pitches. And he's got new defenders behind him. Ben Paulson moves from left field, replacing Rosario at first base. Brandon Barnes moves from right over to left. He replaces Paulson out there. And Cargo, his first appearance of the series so far, he's out there in right. Pitcher spot is 8th for the Diamondbacks. That leads off the inning, and Danny Dorn will hit for Burgos. There's Brandon Barnes in left field. Danny 5 hits in 23 at bats with the Diamondbacks this year. And 2 hits in 14 times up since his latest recall from Reno. A couple of 0 for 4s in his last 2 starts. Shift is on. He pops up the first pitch to fairly deep left center field. Still drifting back out there is Blackman. 1 pitch, 1 out for Kahnle.
Let's take a look at that inning-ending double play. I want you to focus on Chris Owings and where his glove and his bare hand are. He reaches for the ball with his glove. His bare hand is trailing way behind. Infield instructors like to teach the guys in the middle, when you go after a throw from your double play partner, go after it with your glove and your bare hand so you can quickly get that ball out of your glove, get a grip, and make that relay throw on to first. That time, the ball was in his glove on the left side of his body, and his throwing hand was on the right side of his body. And by the time he reached across and rushed his throw, he didn't have a good grip. But a great play by Goldie at the end of that play to keep a foot on the bag and still stretch out there and get that throw.
Cliff Pennington double switched into the ball game midway through, replacing Nick Ahmed at shortstop. Penny singled his first time. Kahnle throwing hard, mid to upper 90s. Cliff up to 213 on the year.
Good change up from Tommy Kahnle, down low, started in the bottom of the strike zone and then dipped down below it.
One and two. Now that they're done with the cones, they can get the rally caps going. Diamondbacks have always hit Tommy Kahnle really well. And sure enough, he strikes out Pennington for the second out. 7 games, Kahnle versus the D-backs, 6 2/3. 10 earned runs on 12 hits.
He's shown a good changeup. That little tailing fastball that time.
A.J. Pollock. A.J. hitless tonight. AJ began the ball game tonight 3rd in the National League in hits and 5th in runs scored. Sounds like a guy who should be in the All-Star game.
Sure does. You can see from that ricochet off the backstop, depending on what that ball hits, it's going to react differently. That one came all the way back to home plate, something to really be aware of if you're a runner at third base.
Series finale tomorrow afternoon, a day game. The battle of the De La Rosas, Ruby and Jorge. Have that game for you on the TV side. And then it's off to San Diego after that for games Friday through Sunday. Here's Ruby De La Rosa. He'll take on Jorge De La Rosa, who's been one of the few guys who's figured out how to pitch in this ballpark. He's got a very good track record here at Phillies. Canely in 97 cranks it up and strikes out Pollock. He works a 1-2-3-8. Diamondbacks trail at 7-5. Field, Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly, and Todd Walsh with you. New pitcher for the Diamondbacks, the hard-throwing right-hander. He's been the 8th-inning man, and that role continues here tonight. It's Daniel Hudson. And last time we saw Huddy, he had hit 99 on the radar gun at Chase Field over the weekend.
Yeah, really looks like he's feeling it. His arm is good. His velocity's been outstanding, ratcheting up a little bit every time he goes out there.
It'll work to Nick Hundley to lead off the 8th inning. Hundley has walked and homered tonight, 2 RBIs. He is our Arizona Federal Credit Union Power Player of the Game. The home run for Hundley back in the second, a solo shot, his 6th of the year. Been a very nice acquisition for Colorado. They gave him a 2-year, $6.25 million deal. He split last season between the Padres and the Orioles, and he's really worked out well here. 96 is in there for strike 1. Long-time Padre, parts of 7 seasons there. Dealt to Baltimore at the end of May last year for reliever Troy Patton. Wound up with the postseason for the first time in his career, Nick Hundley, after 7 years in San Diego. Popped up along the right field line. Goldie in foul ground. Away. Now look at our Chevron upcoming pitching matchup. Series finale, a day game on TV tomorrow. We'll come your way at noon. Ruby De La Rosa and Jorge De La Rosa, two different styles. Ruby throwing mid to upper 90s himself, and De La Rosa with that great changeup in the series finale. Brandon Barnes bounced right near the bag. Owings is over there to collect it. Quickly 2 down. And we'll get our... No, we're not going to get an at-bat from Cargo. His spot is up here. And Daniel Descalso will take the at-bat. Gonzalez had checked into the ballgame to take over in right field in the top of this inning. Well, he's in the 6th spot now. They've changed that. And so this is Descalso to hit for the pitcher. They originally had the pitcher spot 6th. And there's Cargo. He'll wait his turn.
Yeah, you could have very easily put Gonzalez in the 9 spot in the lineup when you made the pitching change and the double switch, but I'm not so sure Walt Weiss wants him hitting with that injured left wrist. Maybe give him one more day without swinging the bat in game action.
They had it up that way originally, but he's in there in the 6th spot. You're right with that right hand sprain. Or pardon me, left hand. A lot of tape. X-rays negative. It's a day-to-day thing. 2-0 on Descalso. Former St. Louis Cardinal, 3 for 23 as a pinch hitter this year with 7 strikeouts.
That 3-0 pitch almost always automatically a strike as long as it's close to the zone, and that one was close enough at 96.
3-2.
That's what we were talking about a couple of innings ago when Enrique Burgos came into the ballgame. The big arms that the Diamondbacks can bring in out of that bullpen. That's a 3-1 pitch right there, and Descalso was tardy as he could possibly be. Fouled it off to the third base side. Just couldn't catch up to the Daniel Hudson fastball.
What an addition he's been to this bullpen. 98 right by him. He strikes at Descalso and works a 1-2-3-8. 9th inning coming up. Peralta, Goldie, and Tomas for the Diamondbacks. trail the Rockies 7-5. Our Gila River game summary. Colorado jumped out to an early lead. Couple of Diamondback errors in the first. Hundley a homer in the second. They led it 3-0. Diamondbacks answered, but the Rockies came back with a 4-run fifth. But Paul Goldschmidt has the big hit for the Diamondbacks, his 20th home run of the season, a 2-run shot in the fifth inning. And we'll see Goldie here bat second in the ninth. Peralta, Goldschmidt, Tomas against the new pitcher for the Rockies, their 7th different pitcher tonight. It's the closer, John Axford, his 23rd appearance this year. He's only been scored upon in 3 outings this year, and that's reflected in the 1.31 ERA. So Peralta will lead it off for the Diamondbacks. He walked and scored in the fifth, 0 for 3. Shift is on for the Rockies. 3 defenders on the right-hand side. And Axford still throws hard up there, 96. That is going to stay in fair territory. Arenado, a bare hand play. Peralta's aboard. And the Diamondbacks will get the tying run to the plate with nobody out. And a swing and bunt off the bat of Peralta.
That'll work. If you could master this and do it whenever you wanted, you might never make an out. It's a little chopper from the shift position. Arenado running straight toward that foul line. Very, very tough play.
A chance for Goldie. 1 for 4. The homer in the fifth, his 20th.
Goldie likes to be aggressive on that first strike, and that was right down Main Street at 96. I just wanted to get a look at Axford, check that arm angles, check the release point.
And that's what you were talking about earlier in the ball game with Alan Webster, looking for that spot.
And when you've had a history against the guy, and granted 5 at-bats is not a big history for Goldie against John Axford, but sometimes it takes a pitch just to remember, oh yeah, that's this guy. Yeah, his arms up high 3/4, fastball straight, good velocity, but not a lot of movement.
There's a great piece right now written by Steve Gilbert on MLB.com, DBacks.com about Goldie and his visualization techniques and the power of positive thinking. And it's a really in-depth piece. A great job by Steve. And Paul was very open talking about his whole process. We've shown that on TV a bunch of times. Goldie kind of half closing his eyes and visualizing what he's going to do up there. That's a great read. Check it out at DBacks.com. Really a look inside the mind of Paul Goldschmidt.
It was very interesting. I saw the same article you're talking about, and just talking about sticking with the process. Don't worry about the results. You drive yourself crazy. Yeah, it's that old cliche we've heard Paul say many times in post-game interviews. I just try to get a good pitch to hit and put a good swing on it. That's all you can control as a hitter. Make sure you're swinging at good pitches and put a good swing on it. If you hit a line drive right at somebody, hey, that was a good at bat, even though it ended up in an out.
He's ahead 3-1. Ball 4. Tying runs are aboard with nobody out.
I think Axford wanted that slider.
And here comes Yasmani Tomas, who's 3 for 4 tonight. 2 singles, a double. He scored a run. Tomas doubled and scored in the 4th. He just missed a home run high off the right field wall. That was off David Hale. Peralta at second. Goldie the tying run at first. Nobody out. Base hit for Tomas. Andy Green is waving Peralta home. Barnes has it. There is no throw, and it's a 1-run ball game. The first 3 have reached for the Diamondbacks here in the 9th against John Axford. A 4-hit night for Yasmani Tomas.
Yeah, we said it last night. We say it every time we come to this ballpark. As long as you have outs left in a ball game, you've got a chance. Diamondbacks put some pressure on the Rockies here.
So Goldie the tying run at second. Tomas the go-ahead run at first. Jake Lamb an RBI double in the 4th. He's 1 for 4. Squares to bunt. Ball 1. There are only 3 perfect closers still left in the National League. K-Rod 15 for 15. Papelbon 13 for 13. Axford 12 for 12. One-0 pitch. Long look to Andy Green down there at third for Jake Lamb.
Yeah, Rockies expecting bunt. Both corners drawn in.
Olsen playing in front of the runner Tomas at first. Arenado in on the grass at third. Axford behind 2-0.
Probably not a great pitch to swing at when you're ahead in the count 2-0. Pitch down there below the knees, and to compound it, he fouled it off his own foot.
Owings on deck. First 3 have reached in the 9th. Still nobody out. Two and two. Axford was behind in the count 2-0. Now he's battled back even. Popped it up. This one has a chance to get down there, and it does. Everybody had to hold up, and the Diamondbacks have the bases loaded. Talk about a dying quail. Everybody just froze in their tracks on the bases, and that one dropped in.
It's perfectly placed out there. Once again, Blackmon playing deep in center. Infielders sprinting out from their position. Nobody can get there. 4 Rockies surround that ball, but the Diamondbacks have them loaded.
For Chris Owings, Axford has yet to retire a batter. CO walked in the second, had an RBI double and scored a run in the fourth. That was back in that fourth inning when the Diamondbacks had 3 consecutive doubles against David Hale. There's a strike at 97, 0-1. Goldie is at third, Tomas at second, and Lamb at first. 0-2 on Chris Owings. Blackmon in center field, shaded well over toward right center. All kinds of room for CO in left center field. Hundley keeps it in front.
Oh, nice play by Nick Hundley that time. Axford has a real good slider. He's having trouble commanding it tonight. That's over in the other batter's box.
You can almost see him thinking, okay, I don't have the slider tonight. I'm going to find something else here. One-two pitch.
Oh, did a nice job of wasting that breaking ball. Just hovering around the outside corner, too close to take, but not really a good enough pitch to do much with. CO just flicks the bat out there and fouls it above that first base dugout. The ladder fastball this time, just rear back and throw a four-seamer as hard as you can up there above the letters.
One away for Jared Saltalamacchia. Goldie's the tying run down there at third. Tomas the go-ahead run at second. Pitcher spot is up next. Aaron Hill is in the on-deck circle. Salty has walked and singled tonight, 1 for 3. He's given up on that slider. Just heat right now from John Axford.
Yeah, you started the game against the sinker baller, and the idea was make him get the ball up. Now you finish the game against the closer. You want to make him get the ball down. One and one. laser beam straight. There is not a wiggle on this fastball. Straight as it could be. Granted, at 96, 97 miles an hour.
Salty squares that up. He'll hit it out of the ballpark. 1-2 now. In the seats. Peralta singled and scored to start off the inning. Axford walked Goldie. Tomas an RBI single. Lamb single. Owing struck out. Now 1-2 on Saltalamacchia. Just missed there. 2-2. Good take there. With
yeah,
2 strikes.
Real good take. That's a bat breaker right there if you swing at it.
Axford about to throw his 25th pitch in this inning. Riley caps are ready. Well, that one almost got Goldie down there at third. That's over his head.
Just a point of rule. That's why you lead off in foul territory from third base. If you're hit by a ball in foul territory, it's just a foul ball. If you happen to be standing in fair territory, you would be out.
Missed at 97, and it's full 3-2.
Good battle.
See if there's some ninth inning magic in that Chuck Norris bat.
Swinging through pitches early in the sequence. Couldn't catch up to that heater in the upper 90s, but with each passing pitch, he's getting closer and closer.
Troy Hawkins started to get loose down in the Rocky bullpen. Axford about to throw pitch number 28 here in the ninth inning. Three balls, 2 strikes. Here's LaTroy Hawkins. Pitched 1 inning last night. A big time battle right here. Axford and Saltalamacchia. In the tying run.
Oh, what an at-bat.
Jared Saltalamacchia. Somewhere Chuck Norris is smiling. That's our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game. Saltalamacchia with a tremendous at-bat for a bases loaded walk that ties it up. A 10-pitch at bat right there, and it's 7-7, and the bases are still loaded with only 1 out. Steve Foster.
Right, in the bigger picture, 29 pitches plus for John Axford in the ball game tonight. A quick turnaround with the day game tomorrow. He's probably not going to be available tomorrow. And LaTroy Hawkins threw last night. If he has to come into this ball game, chances are he wouldn't be available tomorrow.
Big spot for Aaron Hill. 7-7, ninth inning. Bases loaded, 1 out. Aaron in there at .230 and 3 homers. Started at second base here last night. Went 0 for 4 with an RBI. .30 pitches now for Axford. Aaron has always hit well in this ballpark. .333 career, 19 RBIs in 29 games. Fly ball center field. Blackman backing up. Tomas at third. Here he comes. Aaron Hill drives in the go-ahead run. It's 8-7 Diamondbacks. A 3-run Arizona ninth. Against a closer who was perfect on the year.
Boy, you just love the quality of at-bats in this inning against a tough closer, John Axford. These Diamondbacks laying off the borderline pitches, putting good swings on pitches in the zone, and taking a base on balls if that's what it's called for.
And Walt Weiss is going to have to go get his closer after 32 pitches. Pitching change at Coors and a game change. It's 8-7 Diamondbacks. Ninth inning against closer John Axford, who had not blown a save all year long. In fact, the last time he blew a save was June 24th of last year at Chase Field in Arizona.
How about that?
And just by coincidence, he's blown his first one here this year, as the Diamondbacks have come up big time against their closer. Now they'll bring in LaTroy Hawkins, who is the 8th pitcher that Walt Weiss has used tonight, and a lot of them have pitched in both games so far. We've seen O'Berg, we've seen Kane Lee, now we've seen Hawkins. All those guys pitched last night. So you would have to think that those three at least might be out of action for tomorrow. Fourteenth appearance of the year for the Hawk.
The only reliever that hasn't been in the game is Boone Logan, the left-handed specialist.
Jake Lamb is at third. He tagged up on that fly ball. Saltalamacchia, after his tremendous bases-loaded walk, still at first. And here's Cliff Pennington, the 8th man to bat in this inning for the Diamondbacks. And there's a strike on one. Penny so far 1 for 2. He has singled and struck out. Came in midway through the ball game on a double switch, replacing Nick Ahmed. Ahmed had a pair of hits tonight, including an RBI. D-backs have out hit the Rockies 13-8 now. They lead at 8-7. Penny sends this one out to Barnes in left. And that's the final out. Brad Ziegler is coming in to try and close an 8-7 Diamondback lead.
Steve and Bob just happened to overhear Chip Hale addressing, well, I think himself out loud and anyone who would listen, as he said to his team in that dugout at the start of that inning, anything can happen. The word you just kept hearing that whole inning was battle. That they did, but it's not over. Steve, finish it out.
Well, Todd, that's up to Brad Ziegler here. He's on to face the top of the Rocky order and try and nail down an 8-7 Diamondback win, his 32nd appearance. 10 for 12 in his save opportunities this year. Charlie Blackmon, DJ LeMahieu, and Troy Tulowitzki in the Colorado ninth. Blackmon 2 for 4, a pair of singles. He has scored twice. Broken bat, roller to second. Chris Owings is there, one away. And I'm about to hit you, Bob Brenly, with a stat of the night.
Okay.
You ready for this? Chip Hale's Diamondbacks coming into tonight 0 for 29 this year when trailing in the 8th inning. Oh. Dan Hyatt, the great Dan Hyatt, working our stats tonight. Came up with that one. So trying to buck that trend and get their first win this year when trailing in the 8th inning. DJ LeMahieu. Bouncer over the mound. Pennington is there. 2 down. 2 quick ground ball outs against Brad Ziegler. And here's Tulo. Troy Tulowitzki, an RBI single in the first. He walked and scored in the 5th, 1 for 3. Last 5 Diamondback wins have been saved by 4 different pitchers. We go back to the series at San Francisco. Daniel Hudson got his first career save. At Anaheim, Addison Reed saved a game. Brad Ziegler saved 2. Andrew Chafin on Sunday got his first ever save. And now here's Brad Ziegler on once again. 2-0 to Tulo. He is in there for a strike. Two. Got him. And the Diamondbacks come back to win it 8-7 at Coors Field on a wild and rainy night in downtown Denver. Wow, what a game.
What a game. If you got to play all night, you might as well win. Diamondbacks just refused to give up in this ball game. What a great job in that 9th inning. Tremendous at bats up and down the lineup.
Talk about taking the fun out of it. Brad Ziegler, with all the up and down we've had, comes in and does just what you want. A nice, quiet, quick 1-2-3 9th inning. And he ends it by striking out Troy Tulowitzki. So the Diamondbacks get back in the win column here. They snap the Rockies' 3-game winning streak, and they move back to within 1 game of 500 on the year. At 35-36, Chip Hale's club a chance to get back to 500 tomorrow. And they began the game only 4 games off the lead in the NL West, so this team is very much alive and kicking here. Diamondback Live post-game show is next. Todd Walsh will have reaction from the clubhouse on a thrilling 8-7 come from behind D-backs win. Back with much more from Colorado after this.